Welcome back to Backtracks, the #1 podcast where we go back into the lives of successful individuals and examine what exactly about them has made them successful. Today, I'm joined with the one and only Mr. Tim Sanchez Vega. This man is an absolute mogul in his industry. He's a content creator, an entrepreneur, and a business owner, and he has got some wild stories to share with us today about creating a content or becoming a content creator at a very young age, traveling to Los Angeles, moving back to Austin, Texas, and starting multiple different businesses along the way. Tim, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, bro. How are you?
I'm doing fire, bro. Okay, actually, to be honest with you, I'm a little sick today. I'm drinking some tea. I might be blowing my nose a couple
No
times.
worries. We're going to have a great conversation today, all about content, all about media, and we're really going to give you guys a lot of game today. So we're going to put you guys on to the content. Where should we start? Should we start talking about YouTube?
Let's start with the most important free game, the #1 question everybody always asks successful content creators. Break down virality. And why is virality like such, it seems like you're always chasing a dragon, right? So it's like virality 10 years ago, Chocolate Rain, 20 years ago, Chocolate Rain, not the same thing that virality is today. Charlie D'Amelio dancing on TikTok. What's your definition of virality?
So I think the real definition of virality is really following what the algorithm wants. I think overall nowadays in 2025, you're going to see that it's not really about just like screaming from the top of the mountain or like shoving a remote up your butt and like screaming like how World's Greatest Freakout was getting like 30 million views. It's really about, are they watching from the beginning to the end? It's way more of a nerdier science nowadays than it was back in the day. I think back in the day it was like, who's can scream the loudest, who can be the most, the most insane things they do. And I think we still see that on platforms like Kick and like streaming platforms that streamers do. But I think unless you're giving the algorithm, you're feeding the algorithm what it wants, you're not going to get any exposure at all. That's why if you notice, there's been a massive shift in the last couple of years, especially on YouTube, from the cool guys who got really big, like the Paul brothers that were athletes and they screamed the loudest. They were jumping on convenience store belts and stuff, to like more of the nerdier creators like Jimmy, who really found the algorithm and studied every single piece of it. So I think that when you combine being not only the loudest in the room, but also giving the algorithm what the algorithm wants, then I think that's where you really find that you're able to go viral. I don't think that there's anything that just happens by accident anymore.
For sure. It seems a lot more intentional, a lot more planning and preparation is going into these viral videos today. So a couple of things that I've seen is like, of course, like extremism will always work to a degree, but if everybody is playing extremist content, the new white, like a black swan type of content is normal content. Once we kind of see, it's like, I feel like we're swinging back into just more digestible, actually normalized content. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that, right? Like we see, like, I think we finally got to the end of the extremism of content with like the Andrew Tate brothers and like this just super extremist type content.
Right. But even that, I think that like everything that goes viral is dialed down to a science. See, Andrew knew the format, and you know better than anybody that he got everybody he got everybody to post his clips in this like pyramid business that he grew, where people were getting rewarded for sharing his clips. Yeah. And so even that was dialed down to a science. It wasn't just by accident, because Andrew did try to be the loudest. And a couple years ago, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, before he had the big blow up, he had a video that he posted online where he was challenging Jake Paul to a fight. And people shared it. It was shareable and it was hot for like half a day, but people quickly forgot about him. But it wasn't until he dialed in and got into the science of like, hey, this is how I plan to conquer it, and then he executed, that he really went super viral.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, it's come down to a science, and to your point, it's like I think people have lost any desire to like clickbait doesn't work anymore. Just like trying to be the loudest or the flashiest or have the brightest color car. It's not the solution anymore. Now it's do I connect with this individual? Does this content is it built on retention? Is this a video that I want to watch in its entirety?
Right.
And so to your point, it's like even the algorithm itself has matured, where instead of just how many people are clicking on the video, it's what does the retention graph look like? What does the engagement graph look like? Is this, and it really comes down to reputation too, right?
Right.
So if I watch 10 different Tim videos on your Instagram and they're all bangers and they're teaching me how to make money on TikTok Shop, I'm going to want to, every time I think about TikTok Shop, I'm going to want to go to you and ask you a question.
Right.
Versus if every time I see a Tim video, it's the same video and it adds no value, I'm going to scroll right past it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't do anybody any good.
And I think what's crazy is like every single platform, it's kind of hard to ask the question, like, how do you go viral? Because I think it varies from platform to platform. Like I think with, Facebook, the way that I've found success is like however many like Karens and like moms and dads get angry at my videos, that makes it go way more viral than anything else on Facebook specifically, because that's the audience. But I think like something like Instagram, it was as simple as like, I think when Tommy Richmond's song was hot, I think I just like added that song to the video and it performed like 10 times better than all of the rest because I was using their tools and I was using the music that they were promoting at the time. So really it just comes down to like, what does the algorithm want? What do they really want? With YouTube, you're not going to see a David Dobrik length video that's 4 minutes go viral on YouTube anymore. It needs to be 20 to 40 minutes and even longer now. I think like 40 to an hour because that's what YouTube wants, because they want people to watch their content on TVs now, because YouTube is kind of splitting. So if you want to go viral on a short on a phone, you want to make shorts. And if you want to go viral on a TV, which is where the money's at, you want to do longer videos just because that's where YouTube is fighting. So I think that like the days of like watching YouTube on a computer are over. And I think YouTube is like, okay, well, you're going to be a phone creator or a television creator. People are either going to watch you on either.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, where do you want to go viral from?
That's so powerful. And to your, like, I love the depth in which you're thinking about virality, because what this is it's relevance, right? It's like, is this content relevant to not only what's happening in the world and politically or economically or socially, like, is this relevant to what people are already talking about, but is this relevant to the platform, right? It's like, am I creating 2-minute hype beast videos on YouTube or 12-minute videos on YouTube, or am I watching a series length, something that someone can binge watch on YouTube where it can just play in the background, play ads, monetize for YouTube as a platform? Versus like Instagram, TikTok will want you sharing the videos, versus Facebook, of course, just wants your mom and dad yelling at you in the comments. So
1,000%.
That's super good stuff. Break me down a little bit if we want to just kind of quickly summarize your journey going from a YouTube content creator to now mastering the TikTok game and building up your brand even more on Instagram. Walk me through that journey.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, it started at a really young age. I don't remember how it happened or what happened, but I just remember in 5th grade was really the age that I started to truly discover passion. I want to say before that, it was kind of just little kid stuff. But I remember somebody coming to computer lab and being like, oh, search up YouTube, and I didn't know what YouTube was, but I fell in love with the platform. It was like you can just upload videos yourself and like the world can see that. It was completely different to me. It was insane because like the only way to consume things before that were like, cable TV. Right. And there was MySpace, but nobody my age was talking about MySpace.
Yeah, because these are middle school days for you.
Right. And so I went and I saved my chore money and I bought one of those like $50 toy cameras from Walmart. It was a toy for kids, but you actually inserted a micro SD card into the camera and it was about this big. And it was horrible quality. But dude, that's literally all I needed. And I hit the ground running. And dude, even, you remember when we'd have like sleepovers and stuff when we were younger? It went from us like playing video games at the sleepovers to like literally just me and my boy were making YouTube videos in 5th grade, like all night. We were just filming YouTube videos from our rooms. That's so awesome. We thought it was like the coolest thing ever, dude. And it was never like for the money. Like you couldn't even really monetize it back then. No. There was no money in it. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I thought it was a passion of mine. So I did it for 7 years without breaking through. Dude,
can I ask, what's it like watching, like going back and watching those YouTube videos from 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade?
So a lot of them are not available anymore. A lot of them are off YouTube because when I was younger, we had a lot of issues with my parents being uncomfortable because it was not safe at the time. Right. And so I think when the internet was in its early days, that was when you started seeing like the creeps online. Yeah. And I was doing crazy stuff. Like I was putting underwear on my head and stuff like when I was like doing skits. And so they were like, this is unsafe. So my parents actually deleted my YouTube channel and all the videos with it. And I don't know how or why, but I just remember like I kept creating new channels and making videos behind their back.
Were you able to recover any of those videos? Like even privately, do you have access to just like it's your own?
It has to be on YouTube somewhere, but I've tried countless times searching for it.
Yeah.
Gone. Just gone. I mean, they were absolutely garbage videos. Like it was like Windows Movie Maker. I was trying to imitate the creator Fred at the time, like fast forwarded ×2, dancing with my dog, like just horrible content. But I do have, I think starting in 7th grade, I think that's the youngest age that I have. And that's when I started playing around with like not After Effects, but it was like little preset effects with like gunshots and like, you know, flares and different colors, like LUTs on the video. And I just got fascinated by that world, and we would just do skits and stuff. But really, dude, it was just a passion, and like, I just did it for 7 years with no views, no subscribers.
When did your parents finally cave and accept this this content creation? Tim's going to be a YouTuber.
I think it was more so when I started making money.
Yeah. They had
I
to see a
think
paycheck
that
come
was
in.
when, I think that's when the tables turned, because yeah, dude, I mean, it was like from like getting made fun of at school to like people thinking it was weird. Just went through it all, dude. Like, you remember like whenever like there was like a free day, or like there was a substitute and they would just like play stuff on like the projector or whatever in the classroom, the kids would like troll me and like, or like in other classes, like put on my channel because I was like doing YouTube stuff. So yeah, I've been through the ringer, bro. But
did you ever have that moment like where your parents were like, Tim, like you should think about getting a real job? This isn't a real career.
You know, like with my parents, I think it was more so I was the one that was kind of like headstrong into like, I want to make money. And so I would do, I mean, dude, everything in the book, from like, you know, cutting grass, selling snow cones, selling candy at school. You know, I worked with the builder of the homes and like did turn on the sprinkler system. Like I tried to do everything to make money at a young age. And I just remember those words that my mom was like, Tim, you can't make money. You're too young. And that just like fired me up more than anything.
Wow.
And so, but YouTube really wasn't, the goal was not to make money. I think that nowadays it's strictly, hey, how can I monetize this? But like for me, it was one of those things that I just really loved. And yeah, I mean, I think like I started finding success after, you know, summer of 8th grade. I did a video and it was like, it was how to wear a snapback. And really goes back to figuring out the algorithms, right? So the one thing that I will tell people is like, you got to figure out like a way in. You got to like finesse your way in. You can't just like look at the obvious and do the obvious. Like you got to figure out what's going to work. And every content creator that's successful has figured out a format that works, or something to really boost them in the algorithm that is not there, or that they can do. So for me, it was like there was a popular video, it was trending. It was like how to wear a snapback. And I realized that you could actually reply back in the day with videos as a video reply.
Like as a comment.
As a comment. On the right below the video. It was right below the video, and then it was the comments.
So you'd like find viral videos.
Yeah. So, but they had to approve it. They had to approve the video to be on there. You couldn't just like drop it on there.
Yeah. You can't spam.
So this one guy, he had 1 million views on his video, and I replied with my how to wear a snapback video, and he approved it. And then I remember, you know, after that summer ended, me and my friend, we were just having fun at a sleepover, and we just freaking made that snapback video. And then the first day of freshman year, going on the bus home, I randomly decided to check my YouTube. I hadn't checked it in forever. And what I saw was 35,000 views on that video. And when I saw that, I didn't look back, dude. I was like, I got to continue doing this YouTube thing. I got to keep it up. So 9th grade year, I'm grinding the YouTube thing. I'm grinding. And then sophomore year, I got homeschooled and I did it. That's when I took the YouTube thing to a whole new level. Like I was just at home all the time. So I just like really, really, really doubled down on the YouTube thing.
Did it on those early days, like in high school, you're trying to make money, you're trying to get through school, and you're building out your content creation, your brand, you're building out your brand online. Did it get lonely? What was that like? You know, what was your social life like? Yeah, I mean,
No,
obviously you're a
actually, you know,
videographer.
for the early days, it wasn't lonely at all because I had my boys. And the cool part about it is like, since there was no money that I was making at the time, my boys were just like down to be in it for fun.
Yeah.
So we would literally just film videos all the time for fun. And I had this series that I had started doing, and it was like Trip to the Thrift, where we'd go to the thrift stores and we'd find used clothing for cheap. And back in the day, this was before the vintage scene popped up. This was before people even knew that there was stuff at thrifts that you could collect. So back then, you could go to the thrift and find Air Jordans for $5. And these were Jordans that were selling for $200-$300. So we made this whole series where we went to thrift stores and we were, you know, doing just vlogging what we would find. And people really, really liked that. And about the fourth video, the thumbnail randomly was a picture of the Jordan 4 Breads, which is a super popular shoe. And at the time, you couldn't even customize your own thumbnail, but it was just by chance that it like popped up and on
the Jordan 4s.
On the Jordan 4s, and it was like Trip to the Thrift, and it was Air Jordan 4. So that video started, you know, spiking, and then
Is that your first million view video?
No, not even, dude. I mean, it was a lot back then, but I think it was like 100 or 200,000 views. But from that point, I just doubled down on what was working, and I just like kept, you know, doing the thrift store videos, and then kind of like try to find similarities to that. So then I would jump to like, oh, let me do a vlog like going to the flea market and finding like Jordans there. Right. And then it was like, let me try seeing what kind of shoes I can find at Ross. Because it was like, at that point, it was like, I realized that like the pattern was that people just wanted, first of all, it was just shoes. The clothing was like not as hot. It was just shoes. And then the other thing that I realized is like everybody's making videos on shoe reviews, the hot shoes. People are making videos like that. But where my insert was there was a need for affordable shoes, for a discount, for a steal. Yeah. I think that that was really good for me to find. So then I started doing Nike outlets and thrifts and Ross, and all of those combined being series just really boosted my channel all the way up.
And that built the brand.
And it built the brand. They would call me the Ross Boss. That was my first ever initial name was the Ross Boss.
It's crazy that like you kind of almost like you stumbled into a niche or a content format, right? It's like you're trying all these different things. You're making videos with the boys in high school, and then you just kind of like everybody nowadays, it's like, oh, pick your niche and, you know, pick a content format, and you find something that works and you replicate and you iterate and you go deep into it. But before that, sounds like you were a lot broader and you were creating content across like a lot of different formats until you found something that actually got results. Yeah,
dude, it was so early that there was no roadmap. There was no blueprint. It was so early. Like it was just like finding out what worked. And maybe it was just a blessing that like God allowed me to do what I did, what happened, because everything just happened for a reason. And like everybody has their own journey, and it's really about figuring it out. I don't think that you could copy this guy or that guy. I think you really have to figure it out for yourself. But I noticed that there was a problem when I got to 300, 400,000 subscribers. I remember the road from 3 to 4 was about a year or two that I just stopped growing. Like there was like no growth. Wow. And so I needed to figure it out. So I signed up for a course, and it was teaching you how to go viral from some OG YouTubers. And basically what I got from that course was about like, you needed to find the missing piece of something that nobody had been doing already. And so at the time there were other guys that were doing like, you know, videos where you could find stuff for cheap, but nobody was doing entertainment videos with sneakers. The sneaker community at the time was much more like serious. No. More serious, more older guys. They're OG sneaker collectors. And there was nobody that was making content like for the younger demographic or for kids. And that was one thing that I realized is like nobody ever really like has fun with shoes. Like just always so serious. Like who can be the most fly, who can dress the best. It was almost more very competitive.
It was like style versus status, and like, hey, here's how you collect these shoes.
Yeah. It was like flexing and stuff. Yeah. So for me, I was like, why can't we just have fun with this stuff? So I remember at the time, that's when like Jake and Logan Paul were blowing up, and I kind of like picked little things from them that I liked. But I remember the first video that it really, really clicked for me. And I had a manager at the time, and he was like, Tim, he was like, I think your best videos are when you mix X with Y. And it was like when you mix something that is like expensive with something that is cheap, when you mix those two together, that's when you have that virality. Right. Because it was like, you know, if I mixed a super expensive Jordan with thrift or Goodwill, it goes viral. So I was like, So I had this idea, and we went to Goodwill, and we got like the trashiest, like raggediest clothes that we could find. And we wore it to a Neiman Marcus, and we filmed the interaction with the salesman there. And I titled the video "Wearing Rags to the Louis Vuitton Store." And that video popped for me, bro. It popped.
You're like, wait a second,
we found something. We found something. So then from that point, I was like, okay, cool. Let's double down on it. So then I also did a video where I was like, what else could I do that would be fun? So then I went to Ross and I found those size 18 sneakers, and I just wore size 18 sneakers to the mall.
Some clown shoes.
Yeah, bro. So it was like just filming that social experiment. So then I noticed people really like the public stuff. They really like the pranks, but I have this in because I'm mixing it with fashion. Yeah. So then I did, there was a viral video that my friend from Canada did, and he did wearing fake Yeezys to the Adidas store. And I said, that's cool.
Oh no.
But the thing is, that stays in the sneaker community.
Right.
So I did wearing fake Gucci to the Gucci store.
Oh no.
And dude, that video, I want to say that video was probably one of my first million viewed videos. Because I remember seeing that. And at the time, I had my first or second apartment, and dude, at the time I had this tool, and you could see how many views you were getting. And I think in the 24-hour span, I saw I had 800K.
Oh,
and I was freaking out, bro. Like instant virality. And so I was like, dude, this is good. This is great. It's great on my channel. So then what I did is I doubled down on it, wearing fake Louis to the Louis Vuitton store, wearing fake, Versace to the Versace store. Dude, and I just remember like when I filmed the Gucci video, the next time I went to Gucci to do a second video, the worker pulls me to the side and he says, Tim, come here for a second. And I'm wearing my phone, like I'm recording audio on my phone.
Yeah, it's like,
and I had my mother-in-law in there with the camera around her filming, but he didn't know the camera was on. So I was filming my second video, and he goes, "So I saw that video you filmed," and I was like, like I was all nervous.
You're like,
dude.
I'm about to get banned from Gucci. I'm never gonna. And
he's like, back. And he's like, I'm gonna ask that you don't film in the store anymore. And I'm like, okay, because dude, I like literally printed out like I literally did a screen print and I like ironed it on a shirt. And I was like, do you have any more of these? And he was just like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know if we have those in stock anymore. Oh, and it was the same employee that caught you or recognized you for the second video.
So at that point, I just became a menace. I just became a menace, bro. And I got super cool with like everybody at Foot Locker. And then I started doing Foot Locker videos. It's like wearing fake Jordans to Foot Locker, returning fake Jordans to Foot Locker, finding different variations and patterns of things that worked, so that way it could also be a variation of something that could work. Pretending to be a fake Foot Locker worker, doing things like that. And dude, I remember hilarious. Every single time I went to Foot Locker, it was like 1 million views, 1 million views, 1 million views. And back then, YouTube was so freaking easy, bro. Like you could literally have a good idea. We'd go in there, record for 8 minutes, 1 million views. Like it was beautiful, bro.
Tim, I'm curious how you feel about obviously like you grew up with a passion for videography and content creation. Sure. And like I think there's some people that were like natural born content creators. Like you paid your dues early, and you paid your dues before it was about the money, before it was about the career or the status or anything. Now a lot of content creation, including myself, like I got into content creation as an asset, right? I see it as, okay, I'm going to create content to build a personal brand on the internet, and that will be my virtual reputation, which will be an asset for what I do in business. I'm curious, like, how do you feel about people making videos and becoming quote unquote influencers or content creators strictly for, professional or capitalistic incentive versus you came at it initially from a passion perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it depends on like exactly what they want, because I think like making it for a monetary gain, I don't think is like the worst thing in the world. I think like making it to try to be famous is where you're going to find problems, just because I think like it's a marathon, right? And it's not a sprint. And I think like...
Do you think that selfish creators have ruined the content game?
What do you mean by selfish creators? Like define a selfish creator.
Creators trying to just go viral and get clout, like talking about the extremists, the people that are willing to do anything on camera, or people that are just selling out, like they'll do anything on camera for money.
I think that like it's really going to define who you are and what your purpose is, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not. There's so many challenges, and I think there's more competition than there's ever been. So I think like somebody like a Jimmy, Mr. Beast, was very similar to me, where he started really, really young, and that's all he cared about. And so it didn't matter what challenges he faced. He just wanted to make the best videos, and he didn't really care about anything else.
And that's a different heart posture.
I think other content creators that you see, they might blow up and they might get big, but then like they're just like done in a couple years because they're not doing it for the right reasons. So I think like it's not like to say like, what do I think? It's just like, what's their true intentions will come out, because they're 100%. not gonna last if they don't truly enjoy it.
I think also there's a reality that there's toxic players in anything.
Right.
And so like something I've had to change my frame on, I learned this concept like finite versus infinite games.
Yeah.
And this realization of like, am I creating content to get XY result, which is finite, where, you know, once I get there, I'm done.
Right.
Versus like, maybe I just want to document in public because I have no idea what my life is going to look like. So maybe I just, you know, film the process and I enjoy that.
Exactly.
Which is infinite, right? Because then it never ends. And to your point, it's like, I think that there's more people creating content than there ever has been. It's more competitive than it ever has been. But you're coming at it from a perspective, same thing with Jimmy, of like, you just want to be better than you were yesterday during the game. Right. Yes, there's a competitive element. Yes, of course you want to, you know, outperform your competitors, but at the end of the day, you're going to keep creating content whether or not you do.
And I think like I have a lot of admiration for you wanting to refilm this one, because that shows me that like, hey, you really actually do love this. Like you could have been like, oh, dude, like, you know, with the first pod, it got corrupted. So you could have been like, dude, you know, we'll figure it out, or we'll do it another time. But you were like, yo, you want to come back this week and we'll knock it out, bro. Like it takes a lot to do that. It really does. Because one of the worst pet peeves I have is like if something gets corrupted. Now I'll be honest, what I'm doing right now, am I really passionate about it? Yes, but also I'm doing what I'm doing right now, the business that I started right now, more for the money to fuel my passions.
Because I know that your overall goal is to be an actor. Like Tim, you were born for the camera, bro.
Thank you, bro. Love that, bro.
I remember for everybody listening, Tim and I went to New York a couple months ago, and it's me and all the Wi-Fi Money boys. So it's like our whole friend group here in Austin. And we get on the plane and we're flying to. Were you on the plane? Were you?
Yeah, I was on the plane. I was right behind you.
Yep. Yeah. And we're on the plane, and I look behind me, and Hunter and Tim are pulling out their cameras and setting up microphones on their cameras and pulling out streaming lights. And 10 minutes later, we're like in the middle of the flight to New York from Austin, and all the boys are just recording content in the hallway on the plane. That was amazing. Yeah, but you're just like you're a natural, man. Like you're just like so good on camera, and clearly it comes from the repetitions.
Thank you. Glory to God. Yeah. So I guess, should we transition into like what I'm doing now? Because I think like the overall goal for me, right, is like, and speaking of money, right, I think what I'm doing right now, the purpose of what I'm doing right now is to build capital so I can fund what I truly want to do, which the end goal is like become an executive producer, which then I can put myself in my films and television shows. Yes. But you gotta, just like how I figured out how to get big on YouTube, now it's like, how can I get big in the mainstream, film and television? Because that's really where the passion is. And I'm playing the long game with it. I really, really am playing the long game. Last year, I spent the year in LA trying to transition from YouTube to acting. And I realized that, hey, some of these guys have been out here for 5+ years having jobs as waiters, and they still can't get in this game. So let's try to figure it out. Let's work smarter, right?
Harder. Yeah.
So God blessed me with the opportunity, and we started doing TikTok Shop for Affiliate, which was a completely new platform. It just came out, I want to say little over a year ago. And I started doing that full time. When I started doing TikTok Shop, I was doing TikTok for 2 years before, just for fun. I did it in 2020 just for fun. But the opportunity right now that is on Shop is like no other. I literally surpassed my YouTube revenue times 2 that I would make from a month on YouTube in 1 week on TikTok Shop. And it's been nuts. So yeah, man, I mean, I started off as a social media content creator. This officially marks 10 years that I've done it full time. Not even like on YouTube.
Yeah. So not just the hobby stuff in high school.
15 years total, 10 years full-time that I've made a living specifically from YouTube.
That's incredible.
It's been a journey, dude.
And so the YouTube days, so originally you're just optimizing, you're having fun, and it was like, all right, I'm just going to optimize for views, for performance on YouTube. I'm going to build out this brand. Then it's, all right, let me optimize to be an actor in LA. So you move out to LA. And now it's recognizing like, oh, actually, you know, money is a really great asset to have in my back pocket when I want to.
Right. I think that like the biggest thing that I realized when I was in LA is like, I was asking one of my actor friends and I was like, dude, if I had the funds, don't you think I could just put myself into something? And he was like, dude, everything goes back to money. So I think like also though,
pay to play. Hold up. Crazy.
Right. Also though, I think it was like, I think it's like, if God really wanted me to like be an actor, he would have opened that door for me last year. I think there's a reason and purpose for everything. And I think I could have stood there at that door knocking, being like, I want to be an actor. 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 But then like noticing that this whole TikTok shop opportunity is opening up, I could have just ignored that completely. But I decided to just, you know what? Let me set what my desires are, you know, back, and let me just surrender and give it to God and wherever he leads me. And I think that like he brought this TikTok shop opportunity to me when the YouTube channel wasn't at a hot point. It was, you know, it was kind of, we were kind of just not really moving up or anything. YouTube's definitely changes the platform, started feeling burnt out. And all of a sudden TikTok shop comes and dude, like, it's just been insane. It's been an insane journey since. So if you guys don't know what TikTok shop is, basically it's like the Amazon for TikTok. And we're coming into this new world where all of the way that we shop is going to be through shoppable content, right? So I think like TikTok had a plan when they started, and their first plan was, hey, we're going to make this app popular by making popular faces like Charli D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Bryce Hall. We want these TikTok celebrities to be on this so people can hop on the app. So that was phase one, which they did. Now phase two is making it profitable, which is where they introduce products. And
it was like the TikTok starts becoming popularized in 2021, 2022, and we see UGC and UGC, and this word UGC starts coming around. User generated content. Oh, I'm going to hire influencers to work for enterprise companies to create content for them, and TikTok's creating all these micro influencers and celebrities. And now TikTok Shop comes out in 2022 or 3. I think it was
2023
or 2024.
Might have been late 2022.
Okay.
So TikTok Shop has been around for a while. Okay. The thing about it is it started off with like
drop shippers and
like little like cheap items, like little pencils and like things. That's why people never took Shop seriously, because like when it started, it was kind of like just really weird items. But I think as they've advanced, they're putting better and bigger brands on there. So about 13 months ago, they dropped the affiliate program, which is basically you make content about the things that you love and you sell them on the app. When you sell each item, you get a percentage of every sale that you make. It sounds really hard, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but let me tell you why TikTok's algorithm is so powerful. So a lot of influencers don't understand this, but when I started Shop, I had 2.3 million followers. I'm not selling to any of those 2.3 million followers. That was an audience that I grew purely from entertainment value. When I get a product, right? Like, let's just talk about like, maybe I'm selling like, can they see this?
Yeah.
When I'm selling this Celsius, right? My video is not going to be shown to my audience. My video is going to be shown to the people that have been looking at this Celsius can, have clicked on the link, have consumed the most amount of content. When it tries to show them a Celsius video, they're watching the entire video, and I'm selling to them, which is what influencers don't understand.
Hence the concept of making content for the algorithm, because it's understanding, hey, if I make content about a Celsius can, it's going to go to a Celsius
because audience. I've tried, and these early TikTok shop influencers, they don't fully understand a lot of it yet. I think that like I have a full 360 vision, especially because my mom was actually one of the first sellers on Shop. She made it really big at the time, and she was selling this chamoy pickle kit. Eventually, there was a lot of, we're in the Wild West, right? So if you think about early Amazon days, there was a lot of flaws, a lot of issues. So they eventually took down her shop. But I say this because I was able to learn the seller side of TikTok. I was able to learn the influencer side of TikTok, and then the influencer side of TikTok Shop. So a lot of people will say like, oh, your video needs to go viral. You'll sell more products. That is not the way that TikTok Shop works. I said this because I've done, when I was living in LA.
So you have millions of subscribers on YouTube, millions of followers on TikTok.
Yes.
Your mom is one of the biggest shops on TikTok Shop.
Yes.
And then you become an affiliate creator on TikTok Shop. You might be the most holistically or well-rounded perspective person to talk about TikTok Shop affiliate. So
yeah. So here's the thing, man, is like really when I was in California, I didn't have any friends when I lived there last year. It's really, really hard to make friends. I had friends, but like not to the point where like we can just be like every weekend we're like, hey, let's hang out like it is in Austin. Austin's very different. So since I'm new there, I really was just locked in for an entire year. So I really didn't have plans, or I didn't get invited to, you know, birthday parties or different things. Cause like when I was in LA, it was strictly all business. The only people I knew were like managers and like influencers, and like I would talk to them, but only if like we were filming a video or like we were doing a brand deal or something, not just to go eat or go on the weekends. So grinding. I'm locked in, bro. And I'm just like consuming every piece of content, of TikTok Shop content I can consume, signing up for every single course. Dude, I remember I'm just like 360 locked. This is all my focus is on. So I'm testing different content formats. I'm experimenting with different lengths of videos, different products, different ways to edit it, different ways to say it, different ways to sell it, faceless versus non-faceless, the amount of videos you're putting out. I'm testing everything in the book, right? And so I was testing out going viral because I'm like, dude, this is easy. I know how to go viral. So I would film with, you know, my wife, Beth, and I'm like, hey, doing skits. They were getting 100,000 views on the TikTok, 0 sales. A lot of influencers say, oh, it's about going viral on your videos. It's not about going viral. It's about how well is the conversion on your video, the conversion rate, right?
Yeah.
So for me, when I am selling a product, I know that like a lot of the people want to come out and explain like, this is Celsius. It gives you lots of energy. It's gluten-free. But for me, I'm like, that's boring. They're going to skip that video. I'm just going to tell you that, hey, this Celsius right now is on sale and you got to buy it right now, because if you don't, that sale is going to end and you're going to miss out on the biggest sale of the year. Because right now, when you apply your coupons that TikTok's giving you, you can get up to 50% off. So act now. And what that does is everybody that's telling them what it is, they're doing the work for me.
Yeah,
I'm acting off of their impulsiveness.
Yes.
And they're getting it now, and then I'm getting that commission.
Yeah. And it's like someone else who's already logically explained Celsius to them, or they already logically understand. They just need an emotional reason to actually buy right now.
Exactly.
So you're just hitting an emotional trigger.
Right. And it's short, it's sweet, it's simple, and with my voice, it's super like.
Yeah. This guy's
should I hit it real quick, or do you think it's gonna blow the audio?
I'd pull the camera or pull the mic back a bit and then run it.
This is your last chance to get the Celsius can at this price. Right now it's 50% off, but it's only going to be until midnight. When that clock strikes 12, it goes all the way back up to retail. So double or even triple up now and go quick, because this sale's going to end.
What an absolute live masterclass.
So right now, dude, I have 8 pages that I'm running, and I do 3 videos a day for every page.
You know, what's so crazy to me about the TikTok affiliate stuff that you do, TikTok Shop affiliate, is it's absolutely absurd how accessible it is.
Right.
Literally anybody with an iPhone and like you already have the products, right? It's like whether I wanted to promote DJI microphones, if I wanted to promote a book that I'm reading, if I wanted to promote a mug that I have, like essentially like any supplements I'm eating, like especially supplements or any kind of health stuff. Essentially like any consumer product good,
right?
I could promote on TikTok Shop affiliate.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. I mean, it's cool, dude. Like it's great money. I'm doing like way better than I've ever done on YouTube on TikTok, because I think when you talk about product sales, it's just different. E-com's just different, bro. So it's different than making AdSense monies.
I want to ask about this. It's so interesting. And like monetization is important. The AdSense stuff, like we all recognize that like YouTube's making money off creators. Creators aren't making money off YouTube. Right. The affiliate stuff is so interesting. So there's kind of 2 things that I want to unpack. Number 1 is this criticism. Why tell other people about an opportunity that's good for you? Like, you know, there's that whole concept of like, why is someone selling me a course on how to run paid ads? Because if paid ads were so good for them, they wouldn't tell anybody. So like, why do you talk about TikTok Shop affiliate?
Bro, I have my offer that I started with the guys. We are doing a course. We fully recorded it. Truth is, I'm not even really doing my part with that because I'm so busy on the TikTok shop stuff.
Because the TikTok shop is making you so much money.
I'm going to have a talk with the guys because I don't feel like I've been contributing like I should because I'm so busy doing I'm actually really busy doing the shop videos. Like I do not have time because now I'm scaling and I'm starting my own agency. So that's the thing that I wanted to get into next was like, one of the ways that I could see growing it was to do a course, but to be honest with you, like I'm so busy with the TikTok stuff that I don't even have time to tell people how great it is because I'm so busy just filming. So one of the things that I realized in my career, and I don't know where I got this, like maybe it's just like listening to podcasts of successful people, but I think the biggest problem that I faced on YouTube and why I was never like a Mr. Beast or a Logan Paul is because the one thing that I lacked with my YouTube career was scalability. That plays a huge role in your career. And I didn't realize it at the time.
Because you were the biggest fish in a small ocean, aka the sneaker community.
The sneaker community can only get so big.
Versus Logan Paul and Mr. Beast are appealing to a dramatically broader audience.
Way broader, bro. And so it doesn't matter if me and Logan are the same amount of talent. Logan's going to win every time because he's working smarter.
Yeah. He has a bigger fish tank to swim in so he can grow bigger.
Truth is though, I don't even think Logan really even took that into consideration. I just think he saw the vlogs were working at the time, so he jumped into it. I didn't take it into consideration either.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20. You can't.
So, dude,
yourself.
It's like I could say till I'm blue in the face, I want to be the biggest YouTuber, but it's not going to happen if you don't have that scalability. So, I was working with Mr. Beast's people that were like training him. I was working with like the biggest on the YouTube game. I was at the biggest VidCon parties, but it was like I never made it bigger because truth is, I hit the ceiling with sneakers.
Damn.
And so
do you think that there's a ceiling on the TikTok shop stuff? And I think like part of the thing that I've noticed is like the Iman Gadzhi, like the SMMA stuff, having built an SMMA, like there's a ceiling of complexity that's extremely hard to break through when it comes to scaling an SMMA. And at a certain point, it's just easier to sell the info or the coaching or the community or the SaaS on the back of your SMMA. And so something I've noticed in my own industry is like, scalability is extremely difficult where it's, the shortcut is just like sell the info, sell the community. And there's, I think, nuance to that decision-making. Do you think that there's a ceiling on scaling your TikTok shop affiliates?
Yes. And this all goes back down to humility. So here's the thing.
Break it down.
The only way that I can possibly scale up this TikTok shop thing even further is I now have to step back and say, hey, I'm not the influencer anymore. I'm going to hire talent to start recording on these pages, continue growing new pages, and start, building it even bigger because I'm only one person. I have all the knowledge. But the thing is, if I'm selling creatine gummies, there's probably more ripped guys that can sell them better than me. If I'm selling, a female product, there's probably better females that are more charismatic that can relate to more people than me.
Remember, it's 2024, so better females, like sometimes, some female products. Tim is now
right.
Timolay,
I actually sell a lot of female products, bro. But I'm faceless though with those. So I don't show my face. I just do my voice, but I show the product and I let them know that it's... Do you
do a little girl voice on those?
No. I don't know, bro. I don't know, dude. Like I do great on those products.
I wonder if, like there's that concept of like women selling products to men actually generally performs better.
Women selling products to men?
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting too. I think we're gonna definitely test it all out.
Definitely
but I think,
worth testing.
But yeah, I mean, I think like the way to scale shop is like just, dude, at the point where like I'm still working to earn money, but it's like when you allow your money to work for you, that's when you build out systems that will then give you money. Because it's like I can continue to like do these shop videos till I'm blue in the face, but it's like if I can grow a team where I have a studio and the sets and the equipment and the editor and the filmer and the talent, then I can literally be on a beach in, Mexico and make more money than I've ever made before because I'm stepping back and it's not about me. It's about, building the business.
You have the humility to say, okay, even though I think I'm a great person on camera, I'm a great influencer, content creator, I can find people who have 80% of the talent or 70% of the talent. I can infuse them with my knowledge and expertise, and they can get results that don't cost me 8 hours a day.
I mean, I think that's the cool thing about shop versus YouTube, right? Is like with TikTok shop, anybody can sell the product, because with TikTok Shop, people got to realize it's not about you. It's not about the influencer. It's about that product. You want to highlight that product. Now with YouTube, Mr. Beast, you know, I think he was running like 3 or 4 channel at the time, but he cannot step away from it.
No.
Even though he would be more valuable behind the scenes and directing everything and producing everything. And maybe he puts a guy like Logan Paul that has such a crazier personality to do the videos. He can't, even if he wanted to, because the audience will stop watching because it's all about him.
It is. Mr. Beast has to be the host.
He has to.
He has to be the host.
And he tried with his friends, but
now it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
so
did try with their friends.
Imagine if Mr. Beast didn't have to be on camera. Imagine how many channels he could have been running.
Yeah,
you know?
That's nuts.
So
that's
that's where we talk about the ceiling, right? So scalability is huge.
I think it's also interesting too, though, of like there's a different side of it of like Mr. Beast has something that's irreplaceable, which is the recognition of Mr. Beast, which is, you know, double-edged sword, right? Like Mr. Beast could get exposed like he almost just did. And like he could lose it all because it's all personal reputation. But there's also an asset of goodwill there of like, even if Jimmy or Mr. Beast walks away from what he's doing, he'll always be recognized as Mr. Beast.
Right.
Versus like it's interesting, like the TikTok Shop stuff you're doing now. So you don't have the same brand recognition and goodwill.
No.
But you also have a different scalability, not in reputation and recognition, but in the ability to replace yourself on the camera.
What I will say is that I've never had the amount of peace that I have now. Because when you're a content creator and you're constantly making videos and making content and you're under so much scrutiny all the time, like constantly getting hate DMs, constantly getting this, constantly getting that, constantly getting creators that are trying to call you out. And dude, just stepping back and like with the TikTok Shop stuff, I don't even show my face. I'm just like really faceless on it. And dude, it just like, it's so much better, bro. Like I'm so much happier because I'm not like, even when I would put out a YouTube video, right? It was like, you would feel so much pressure to like, you have to get these views, you have to get these numbers. Cause it's not only like, cause it's good for yourself, but it's like everybody's watching, bro. So like everybody else that would do sneaker videos, I know they're watching. Oh, dude, he got low views this week. Dude, he got 1 million views last week, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Dude, my other friends, everybody sees, bro. Everybody sees if you get low views, and it's just like, dude, it freaking stabs you in the heart. Like it's bad.
It's so interesting because like I'm building the personal brand right now, and I'm starting to see that. And I have a couple of friends that have built like faceless pages and faceless content formats, and you're building the faceless thing. And there's this like people talk about the piece, right? And it's interesting because everybody wants a personal brand. Everybody wants recognition of like, oh, look how many subscribers, look how many followers. For me, it's like, I think it's just like the way I've logically rationalized to myself is like, it's the better asset long-term of like, even if I get banned on the platform or even if there's anything else, like I'm building recognition and reputation, which is what I tie it back to. But it's interesting because I've started to notice this like pressure to perform. Where it's like, oh, wait, like I always want to be creating good content. Like even this, it's like the file gets corrupted. And then today, like I'm sick and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not going to have the highest energy. But
I still feel like you have it pretty good because you're making your income from other sources. When that is like your full-time income and that's your only basket, you're like, it is freaking a nightmare, dude. Like it's a nightmare. Like waking up and like seeing that 10 out of 10 on YouTube. Knowing that that's your income and your credibility.
Do you think it's like a different form of the rat race? It's like
dude, 1,000%, 1,000,000%. I was trapped. I had to make a video every single week and it had to get 1 million views. If not, I'm not good enough. If not, I'm not a good enough person. Whereas like I'm this like hidden talent that like I have all these, you know, talents that I can maybe become, you know, one of the biggest actors in the world, but like I'm letting that define me. Like I'm letting this YouTube thing define me because I'm locked in. I'm trapped. I didn't have time for anything else, bro. Now that I'm doing shop, I literally have time for anything and everything. When I was doing YouTube, it was just that one video. I can't think about anything else. I can't try to make money anywhere else.
You didn't
I
have the capacity for anything.
My editors, I send it to I film it. I send it. I plan it. I film it. I send it to my editor. He sends it back. I send it back. He sends it back. I send it back. Oh, it's almost time to upload it. Boom. By the time you know it, it's like Friday night. You got to get that up for Saturday in the morning. And then boom, you upload it. And then, it didn't perform good. Okay, go back to the drawing board. Let's figure it out. It just like keeps going on and on and on and on. And dude, it got to the point where like Mr. Beast added a whole new level to YouTube where you have to really outperform everybody else.
And he's now planning like 3 months in advance.
Dude,
where his
it got
videos are
so
scheduled,
expensive, bro.
Yeah.
Like I had to literally start spending so much money on sneakers and traveling. And dude, I remember this one video. Like I flew all the way to LA. I bought like 100 or 150 pairs of shoes. I dropped it off to these kids in need at an elementary school or whatever. And I'm not mad that the video didn't perform good because it was a good deed. But dude, that was very expensive, and I was in the hole big time from that video. So it started getting really, really expensive, and it's almost like you're rolling the dice. Like
I was just
like
about
gambling
to say,
at that point.
I was just about to say, I think like the Iraq Mr. Beast age or era of YouTube, where it's all about, you know, how big is the video, how dramatic is the video. It's become high stakes.
It's all gambling, bro.
And so like, I mean,
nobody knows.
Even just look at the trend now. It's, you know, like Full Send Steve will do it. All of the people now on stake.com and all of these online gambling sites, like think about all the live streamers. It's like online content. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat on the content creation. That I haven't talked about this publicly at all. I have a theory.
Okay.
Right. I have a theory that there's in the universe and in physics, there's the theory of, or the law of entropy, where everything moves closer and closer to chaos over time. So things fall into disarray. Okay. Right. So like matter, organic stuff rots and falls apart and turns back into dirt. Right. But things move towards chaos. And it's like the YouTube, the content creation space went from like extremely organized production in like movies and films. And then it became TV and like sitcoms and all of that. And then it became vlog style, like the YouTube vlog style. And now it's just become like literally degenerate gambling on live stream, which is people being as dramatic as possible, as flashy as possible, dramatic gambling. So now I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, how do we actually turn this into something that works? Right. It's like, I think you either have to go extremely humanitarian, like Ryan Trahan, or like Ryan Trahan's videos perform not because he's doing something flashy, but because his audience just loves watching Ryan Trahan. So they just want to hang out with Ryan.
I think that like, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
So like how I'm looking at it is like the majority of the cows are just about to run off of, or the majority of the sheep are about to run off a cliff of just degeneracy, of extremism. But we see like these glimmers of hope of like Sam Sulek, right? Just raw content of him working out at the gym for an hour and a half long. So pure humanity, like Ryan Trahan. And then we see so I think there's 3 primary channels of like actually being able to make this thing work and like turning content creation and the influencer space into something sustainable. So you have humanity, Ryan Trahan, Sam Sulek type, which is all just, do people actually enjoy connecting to you? You have the pathway that I've gone, which is like building a product or service about yourself, still a personal brand that is scalable based on the back of your content. So the content sends people into whatever business ecosystem that you have. So a personal brand funnel or a founder funnel, right? And so you have that system, which is the one I'm doing. And then the one that you've built out and are continuing to build. I think actually Andrew Tate pioneered what you're doing. Hear me out. I think what I'm
founder of TikTok Shop.
Founder of TikTok Shop. He's actually working with the Chinese government. No, I think it's the high volume distribution. Faceless or with a face. It's this concept of like you win as long as you produce 3 videos a day, 5 pages a day. Like you're just producing content in volume ad nauseum to a point where you can't lose.
The only reason why it's like that now is because it's so early. YouTube used to be exactly like that. There was people that were doing 3 vlogs a day, making 100,000 a month. But it changes, like everything. So I'm ready for it. I know it's going to get more competitive. So I'm telling my team already, like, hey, we're going to have to step up everything. Let's start now. So, because I want to be the Mr. Beast of the TikTok Shop, where like, where I stayed the same and Jimmy's like upping. Now I'm like, okay, I've seen these patterns. Yeah. Right now, everybody's in the daily vlogger, G7X mode on TikTok Shop. So let me start to up the quality. But
what do you think, what do you think that looks like in terms of, so like, and we can address like kind of those channels, but for you, the TikTok Shop stuff right now, it is a volume game of just whoever can, shout the loudest in the room, going back to our original conversation. What do you think the evolution looks like on TikTok Shop?
I think it's interesting because I wonder if it's going to stay needing to be relatable, filming with your phone, or if we're going to go into more of like it looking like commercials for everything that you drop. I think it really depends on where TikTok Shop goes as a whole, because there's different things that people are saying that it could happen, right? For one, TikTok could start to get greedy, where they're like, okay, listen, we're not going to be boosting y'all's organic videos anymore. You need to be under a paid ad working with the company.
Yeah, Rip Spark ads or whatever.
So if that happens, then these companies are just going to be promoting top-notch quality. So that's already one thing that could happen. The other thing that can happen is I think that we're going to come into a world where like the videos are working now, but I think that by this time next year, I think it's going to be all consumed by just pure live streaming. I think it's going to be all live streaming all the time.
Well, we're seeing that in China, right? They're like the phone farming where they'll have, 150 phones live streaming one person and they're just ripping products.
It's insane. I mean, I'm trying to be at the forefront of it. I'm talking with the higher ups at TikTok. I'm talking with the higher ups of the brands. I'm talking with the top affiliates. And I think like, it's just, you gotta be ready for the future, right? So it's like right now I'm getting the live streaming studio already for next year. I'm already having relationships with the brand. I'm already like gonna start bringing on talent that for early next year that are gonna be producing Spanish content.
Yeah.
So that's
the
huge.
Mr. Beast play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
so
huge.
it's like just upping because a lot of these affiliates, this is their first time making money. And the reason why, I mean, not to get into it too far, but like all the YouTubers thought they were too cool for Vine. So the Viners ended up taking all the YouTubers' position. And then all the YouTubers thought they were too cool for TikTok. So then normal people like Charlie D'Amelio and Addison Rae blew up and they become more rich than these YouTubers. And then the TikTokers think they're too cool for TikTok Shop. So now we have middle America people that are, making crazy money. But the thing with these kids is that they don't know how the social media game goes. They don't know how it evolves, how quickly it evolves. So for me being around the block for so long, I know that it's not gonna stay the same. And so if we're not preparing to grow, then you're not gonna be making these videos with your phone, making the kind of money you're making now for 10 years. Yeah. It's just not gonna happen. There's gonna be things that change and that grow and that evolve.
The platform's gonna evolve, iterate.
For us, it's like just being ready for the next step to be ahead. And so I think it's just like, really conquering and really stepping up the game for sure.
Huge. Do you, so I'm new to content creation, right? You've been doing this 15 years, 10 years full time. I've been doing this for the content creations, but only a couple of years. I've only been building a personal brand for sub 1 year. So I started actually just a little bit over a year. I started actually posting content on my own in like September of last year. Right. Before that, I played around with it. I was posting on Instagram, but never seriously. I'm not even a couple months into my YouTube journey. Do you think my mindset's in the right place or my theory's in the right place in terms of either I need to build a personal brand like the Trahan, the Sam Sulek, I need to build a product on the back of this, or go your angle? Like, do you think I'm looking at the game the right way? Do you think I'm missing something?
I think that like somebody like Trahan is like just fully focused on content. I know Ryan. I knew him. I met him before the big blow up. He's such a good dude. And I can tell you that like there's no really bad intent with his content. I don't really think that like he doesn't really care about the money or anything like that from what I can see. But I think like he found, again, with Ryan, he found a somewhere that there was a missing need in that. Everybody was trying to be like Mr. Beast 2 years ago. Everybody was trying to spend more money. Even myself, I was like giving away PS5s and like bigger, right? So what did Ryan do? He said, I want to be the opposite of Mr. Beast.
Yeah. I'm going to take 1 penny.
1 penny, exactly. Yes. So it's like finding that missing gap. But I think with your content game, I mean, truly, I think it's like, what are you building for the end goal? I think with Ryan, to be honest, I think he's going to continue to grow his content and I think he's going to continue to evolve as a creator. But I don't think that Ryan really...
And to your point of scalability, I don't think he's going to be like, I actually think he's going to do really good with Joyride. I love what he's doing with Joyride.
I mean, we just saw Sour Strip sell for $100 million to Hershey's, and that was Max, who had 300,000 subscribers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joyride's going to be insane.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this journey with Joyride. That said, like I mentioned earlier, for me, it's like, I just want to build a platform, right? It's reputation, it's recognition. And for me, like the biggest thing is I want to play business at the biggest levels. And so my logic and reasoning is if I get really deep into content creation and I become, at least someone that's willing to have conversations in business, in content, and all of this, that's going to give me access to rooms and business conversations I wouldn't, because I didn't go the Ivy League route, right? I didn't have trust fund parents or grow up on Wall Street.
Right.
And so the goal is really to break into a marketplace that otherwise I wouldn't have access to. do you think I'm going about it the right way?
Man, the entrepreneur like circles are so different now with social media, right?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I was raised off Gary, Gary in the early days. I think that like, yeah, man, I think that like without a personal brand, you're definitely going to fall behind.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't let it distract you from doing what you really want to do. So one of the things that I took in recently from Gary is, Gary was doing the wine thing with his dad and he was crushing it and he was going. But he said, on a podcast recently, when I was building VaynerMedia, I literally went ghost for 2 years to build up VaynerMedia so I could have that going for myself. And then he said, then I returned and conquered socials. Yeah, nobody knows about that, he said.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like I'm in that, VaynerMedia period where I'm like really, really, really stepping back. And I'm like, let me build up a system that I can live on forever. And then we'll hit socials really, really hard. Because I do agree with you though. I think like if you don't have a social media presence, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah.
And I think that like, dude, I mean, even when it comes to like attracting a partner, right? It's all socials now.
Oh my gosh.
It's wild.
Building a personal brand has been one of the most noticeable differences I've ever seen in my dating life.
But it also like,
it's weird.
It's also tough too, right? Because like when you're just living normal life, you meet all these people and you can wear so many different hats with every person that you meet. Right. But with social media, if you grow your brand for being this specific type of way, they're only going to know you for being that specific type of way. It's really tough.
It is.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I think that like the doors will open of opportunity when you do grow your personal brand. But like I said, I think like it's a lot, man. Like it almost like requires you to do this full time, which is why I recommend to you like.
And it's tricky. Like as an entrepreneur, you can't do it full time.
Right.
It's like I have a business to run. Like actually kind of my logic and the Gary Vee approach of it is like dial in product and then build out the personal brand.
I almost wonder though how much work Gary it still puts his hand into with Vayner, or if he just kind of like built it out and he just like worries about the major problems. Because it almost seems like he's always just speaking gigs, creating content, doing this, doing that. Vayner, V-Fest. Like,
yeah, how I'm kind of approaching this game is like the product has to come first, because it's like either you decide the personal brand comes first and I'm creator first and business like entrepreneur second, or I'm entrepreneur first and I'm using content as a vehicle. And so it's like I've decided for me, it's like the entrepreneurialism, like that is the first thing for me. That's my favorite game to play. Yeah. And then just like it's a necessity in today's world to also build out this secondary skill set or to build out this asset. And so it's like, okay, like 80 years ago, the thing that everybody needed to do was invest in real estate. And that was the place to park your money. That was the place to, build a good career, have a good job, be an entrepreneur, whatever it is. Once you have money, dump it in houses. And now it's like, okay, build up your career, whatever it is. But once you're successful, you have at least some kind of momentum. Build out a reputation.
Dude, I love that. I love that. I've never heard of that analogy before, but I really like it. And I think like, dude, don't stress yourself out so much to put out content. I think like a lot of these entrepreneurs, they've already made the money and then they go hard on socials. Dan Martell, like all these guys that I watch, like they've all made their money. Yeah. Cause I feel like when I come back to socials really, really heavy, I just want to be at the point where I'm like, dude, I have 2 filmers, I have 2 editors, I have a producer, and I'm not even worrying about what I'm paying them, because I'm so good on my businesses that I've built that like that's just for fun. When I get to that point, I think I will come back to socials and fully do it. But when I'm still worrying about like, dude, I got to pay this dude $500 for a video, and I'm coming out with 7 videos, like it's just like, But yeah, dude, it's interesting. It's interesting, right? The game of social media is just changing and evolving and constantly just.
It is. And the kind of like, it's interesting, like in my experience, like the personal brand is actually one of the most profitable things I put my money into as a business.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing.
That's everything I talk about, right? It's a profitable personal brand. And it's so interesting because it's like a little bit of nuance in a lot of different ways. But I'm noticing it's like you either have to think about it as an investment or you have to think about it as disposable income.
Right.
It's like either I'm hiring this videographer, I'm hiring this editor, I'm spending this money on whatever it is for fun, or it's I need to think of this as a business expense and I need to track my numbers. I need to measure this. I need to be actually strategic about it. And it's like, I'm seeing a lot of, to your point of like founders and early stage Gary V's, or a lot of guys in my situation where they built, a high 6 or 7, even some 8-figure operations where it's like, oh, I need to build a personal brand. And they treat it like disposable income, even though they're spending money that needs to be an investment. And so like, oh, where's my ROI?
Right.
And it's like, but you're not treating it like you would if you bought into a stock market. It's just interesting, right? Because it's like, I think it's an incredibly good cash producing asset, even early on. Like for you, right? Like what you guys are building with, what's the dollar a day club?
Digital Dollar Club.
Digital Dollar Club. So what you guys built with like the Digital Dollar Club and what you have built with your personal brand and your assets is like, it can be incredibly profitable if done right, but you have to treat it like a business operation.
Right. 100%.
Not just Mr. Beast, hype stuff.
Yeah. You have to be all in. I think like, and that's the other thing too. I think like with me being a YouTuber for so long, it was just profiting off of entertainment value.
Yes.
Versus having an offer, which is, meeting you guys is a whole new world that I've ever been, I've never met any influencers that have an offer just because we're so focused on producing that banger, that viral video.
Yeah. You know what changed me
what's
on all
that?
this? I had a moment that changed me in all of this.
What's that?
I met this girl. My roommate actually started dating this girl. We met her at the gym. And she had 1.2 million followers on TikTok, 200K on Instagram. And she's living with her mom. She's 19 years old. She's like a supermodel level attractive. And she's making like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And it's essentially random dudes on her TikTok sending her money.
That's
like
crazy.
It's not an income.
Right.
And I saw that.
Right.
And like before that, I was like, oh, content creators are rich. Like I'm seeing like Logan Paul and all these people. And I'm like, oh, all you have to do is build up subscribers,
bro, like,
and make money.
I mean, somebody told me recently, they're like, bro, my boy told me that if you could just get to 10K on YouTube, you're set for life. I'm like, no, dude. So the thing that people don't realize is like, I really think like all these guys, the reason why they're so wealthy is because they use their socials as a bridge. Like Logan, it was the Maverick merch, bro.
Yes, you have to. And think about like even Full Send. It's the merch. It's Happy Dad. Happy Dad's $1 billion company.
Look at these OG YouTubers. They're struggling now because they didn't build companies, bro.
Yeah,
they were just off the AdSense buying Ferraris and stuff. Yeah. Even Dobrik made no money off the videos.
And now he's dead, bro. Like, well, not dead, but like, where's he at?
Dobrik is doing amazing. Okay, so Dobrik was making all of his money on his merch because he had 4-minute videos and he would add music. So Dobrik was doing all of his money on his merch. And now Dobrik's at the point of his life where he stepped back. He has Dobrik's Pizza. He has Zila Fitness. He has all of these companies that he has his hands in. And that's all he does full time.
So he was smart about it. And he was actually taking the money off of the influence
Dude, if
stuff.
you go to LA, it's like David's company. Like you're driving. It's crazy.
So and same thing. Instead of selling online merch, he just took over. Like everybody in LA is watching David Dobrik content.
Right.
So he just said, all right, everybody in LA is going to want to buy from David Dobrik.
It's crazy, dude.
So
everything that he's building is like insane. He literally,
so good.
It's like he had like it just advanced to the next level of life, and it's just like focusing on his businesses now.
That's so great.
It's
I'm
insane
happy to hear that. But to that point, it's like it's realizing it's like the content creation thing cannot operate in a vacuum.
Right.
It's like it either needs to be you're
a
creating
bridge.
content as an agent. It's a bridge.
Right.
Content is a great bridge. Right. It's like it's creating content on the internet is an amazing way to reach an audience that would otherwise be inaccessible.
Because like I think like even with Mr. Beast, he cut the gaming channel, he cut the reaction channel.
Yeah.
He was getting like 40 million views on those videos. But you know what was more profitable? The chocolate business. So he said, I'm just gonna focus on my main channel and I'm going to make the chocolate business boom. And bro, when he's getting 40 million views on a gaming video, dude, that's like, I don't know, like $300,000 or more than that.
Yeah, I heard the factor of like roundabout, and depending obviously on the niche and the audience type, what retention rate looks like, but roundabout
it's
like
crazy.
It's like roundabout 10K cash per million views on YouTube with AdSense. If it's monetizable.
10K cash for how many views?
Per million views, roundabout.
Oh, that's really good, bro. That's really good. Okay, I think for gaming it's probably like 1 to 2K.
Wow.
Yeah, because for me it was like 5K for fashion. And then I think with entrepreneur stuff, that's when you're getting into like
That's
$40
crazy.
CPMs, dude. Like
That's
$50
crazy.
CPMs, $90.
And it's in, you know, like I love when you actually break. I'm a math nerd,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like I look at the math and it's like, of course, Mr. Beast is stepping into, you know, endorsing the chocolate company and creating the random stuff that you can, like the trinkets you buy at Walmart,
Right.
And now he's launching that new show on Amazon Prime. That's probably going to be a multi-$100-million show on Amazon because you get the brand deals, you get the actual like streaming rights, like there's IP involved. It's not just random content that a platform owns that you don't own the audience or the recognition. And so it's like you start breaking down the numbers and it's like, wait a second, the content has to go somewhere. Like even what I do, it's like the content bridges into high ticket products and services.
Exactly.
The high ticket products and services, like I don't care about the AdSense money because my CPM, if I'm looking at just conversion rates and I'm looking at sales on the back end, it's way better than I could ever do with any kind of AdSense.
Right.
So it's like,
yeah, I mean, pure entertainment, I think is like going to be falling off, dude. I think like, dude, every massive like film and movie that's coming out, I mean, is going to be owned by a product, by a commerce, right? I mean, Amazon literally has Amazon streaming, Apple streaming. Like it's all starts as commerce and now they're owning, you know, what you're watching. Barbie, you know.
Does that not feel dystopian to you? Like everything's an advertisement? Like everything's owned
for sure, but I mean, I
to
think
sell you
like
something?
we could either be like against it or we can adapt because the world's changing so quickly right now,
Oh my
dude.
God,
It
bro,
is
it's
changing
insane.
so fast.
How do you feel about brain rot? Like all of the, you know, the streamers like huffing whippets on stream and spending all their money on roulette, and like how do you feel about the degeneracy of brain rot content, the OnlyFans epidemic, all of this just chaos unfolding on the internet?
I mean, dude, I think like make your money while you can. But like if you're not ready to invest in another business, then you know it's going to be tough for you.
It really to me it seems like we're seeing a great separation of like it seems like it's just a race to the bottom with some of this stuff of like girls trying to sleep with 1,000 dudes in 24 hours,
Right.
Like the people just huffing laughing gas and gambling tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on stream. It's like it's a race to the bottom of who can be the most degenerate, who can be the most extreme, who can be the most lewd or irresponsible. And then we're also seeing the separation the other way of who can diversify their money the most strategically.
Right. I mean,
who can build the best high quality products or the most high quality content.
I think with a lot of these people that do those type of like shock value content, it's like they put themselves in a box where they have to do it again and again and again and again in order to survive. That's the rat race. So I think we're going to see like, I mean, how far can the Octua girl go with her podcast? That's what we're going to see. But I don't know, man, because she signed with Jake Paul. So Jake Paul might figure out a way.
Ooh, and you know, I love that she named her LLC 15 minutes. I just love so much.
And like
that
the
her
thing
LLC
is like
15
Jake Paul's still on that vibe though, dude.
He gets the game, bro.
He continues to shock the world time after time after time.
You know, everybody likes to hate on Jake Paul. I have the utmost respect for Jake Paul. Like, I don't respect his brother, but Jake Paul has through all of it, he's evolved, he's adapted. I think he's invested extremely strategically while also still maintaining the truth of like, Jake Paul's a content creator. Like he's not a super savvy business guy or whatever. So he's like, I'm just going to be really good at putting attention on things in ways that are also economically
Dude, I think when it comes
beneficial.
to content, it's like he just didn't care what people thought of him.
Yeah.
He just didn't care. For the longest time, like, dude, like he would get more hate than anybody else. And when I walked into that Mike Tyson fight, dude, and I see the whole Dallas Cowboys arena filled with people to watch him being the #1 event on Netflix, I was like, he just didn't care what people thought of him.
And everybody there wanted to see him fail. Like 200 million people tuned in on Netflix. Not a single person rooting for bro.
He filled it though.
Bro.
He filled it.
So good.
And we're the fools paying for it, dude.
Yeah. Bro, it's like he's like he's playing the archetype or he's playing the role of being the villain. And he's just leaned into it. It's like everybody wants to clown Jake Paul for, you know, beating up an old guy or whatever, but he knows people are going to pay to watch it. He knows people are going to sign up. Like he plays the game well.
Yeah, I mean,
so good.
He's at a high level of 15 second, right? Because it's like he keeps shocking.
Yeah.
But he's building brands along the way too.
Yeah. He's got that like I mean, obviously the Maverick merch way back in the day, and now he's got that like that spray.
The W,
Yeah, the W. Yeah. I love his beef with his brother with Prime and Celsius. Like I'm just such a huge I'm a big fan. Like if I was going to dick ride on any of the YouTube celebrity guys, I think it'd be Jake. I got
really?
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot of respect for him, bro.
That's crazy.
Because to your point, like he's willing to go against the grain, not only to get the attention, but I think he like genuinely, I think behind it, he has a good heart. Like there was a lot of times in that the Mike Tyson fight, I think he could have really done damage.
Right.
He didn't.
Right. For sure. He was holding back 100%.
Yeah, that brought me a lot of joy to see. I was like, that takes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's super smart. I mean, even from the get-go, dude, like Team 10 was just a whole business that he was trying to grow those content creators. It was like one of the first of its kind.
Yeah.
And he took the risk, and he's been burned by so many people. He's been, you know.
I have a good friend here in Austin, an entrepreneur, very, very successful entrepreneur here in Austin that the Jake Paul reached out to when Jake Paul was like, I think 14 or 15, trying to convince him to buy into his company.
Really?
And, like, was harassing him on email. And then like they ended up become personal friends. And so like my buddy here in Austin is like rooting for him and like sending him like texts about the like, hey, good luck with the fight now.
That's crazy.
Like, Jake has never been, I think he's never been afraid of doing it wrong or like failing or being told no. He just does it. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to go out and do the thing. So a lot of respect for that.
That's crazy. Just doing it, not caring.
Maybe that's, you know, it's like, I've been playing a lot with, there's two thoughts that I've been playing a lot with recently, that what I want wants me. And so the only question is, how bad do I want it? And so it's like, if you want, you know, whatever it is, well, how bad do you want it? Because it wants you just as bad as you want it. And that's
right. Again, though, I think it's like, yeah, no, 1,000%. I think with your position and speaking on anybody that wants to be a content creator, like you're not going to be the next Jake Paul. You have to step back and work smarter rather than harder, because you can do the same things that Jake's doing, but you're not going to have the same results. You know, you have to step back and find out where you can fill in the gap, where you can fill in what's missing. Because dude, there's been plenty of times where like I've been super inspired by Logan and Jake, and like, so then I start doing the daily vlogs, and it's like I'm putting in so much work for like no results.
Come on.
And you know,
it's interesting because it's like Jake Paul or you or anybody else may pave the way in certain ways, but replication will not succeed anymore with the content. It's like you have to find the authenticity, and it's like, okay, I might, you know, how many people have sold the How to Go Viral course, right? Because it's like there's so many different things that I can gain out of learning from you, Tim, or learning from Jake or anybody else. But the reality is like I cannot be Tim. Therefore, I have to figure out how do I authentically express what Tim has already shown me works. So actually, with that in mind, I want to ask you a question to wrap with the TikTok shop affiliate stuff.
Sure.
You mentioned Middle America is going to take over, right? Because the TikTokers have taken over the YouTubers, but now the TikTokers are too proud.
Right.
Going back to humility, they're too proud to go and create TikTok shop affiliate and go create this content. Middle Americans are at home. They're going, I want to be a content creator. I want to figure out this game. I want to get into TikTok shop affiliate. What are some things that you're doing that they could adapt, but not necessarily like, I'm not trying to tell anybody to be you.
With Middle America?
Yeah, just, you know, let's say you're still, I'm going to paint a picture.
I would say if there's any advice that I could give them, it's you need to leave your hometown when you found a little bit of success if you want to keep growing. Because if you don't, you're going to get too comfortable because you're going to be the top fish in the sea, and you're going to have those people that are going to constantly be pulling you down because they knew the old you. They don't know the new you. So you got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to get out of your hometown if you want to keep growing. If you don't want this to just be a 15-second of success, you have to keep growing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying move to like LA or New York, but just surround yourself with other people that are like-minded.
Something I've seen from you, and you just sharing your story today and having gotten to know you over however long it's been since we've met, something I think about 6 months since we've met, something I've seen in you continuously is your willingness to reinvent yourself.
Sure.
So
yeah. No, 1,000%. I think like you have to constantly reinvent yourself every couple of months because, yeah, dude, I was thinking about it yesterday. I've lived so many lives. Like I feel like every year when my lease ends, I move and I do something completely different. But I really think it's just like continuing to advance in life, dude. I think growth is everything. I think if you're too stagnant, like I start to get bored. I start to get like almost like sad because it's like you're in the same routine over and over and over again.
Are there any things that you've stuck true or stayed true to, no matter how many times you change, whether it's you change the content you do or how you show up or how you dress or anything, like even the times you're willing to completely reinvent who you are, are there certain things that you've always stayed loyal to or faithful to?
Yeah, I mean, 1,000% stayed faithful to God, you know. No matter what it is, I want to make sure that I have my morals and that, you know, I'm not a bad example for those on social media. You know, there is lines that I don't cross, and I think that's just it. It doesn't matter if I move to LA and I'm around certain people, just keeping your faithfulness to God, because God is everything. And I think without him, I'm nothing. So, you know, I am nothing. It's all God. So that's pretty much the same thing that stays true.
Come on. That sounded like a little post-fight interview. You know, you just got out of the ring. Hey,
Right,
all glory to God. Without him, I'm nothing. That's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just like continuing to work hard at whatever you do, keeping your head down. There's moments of times where, like, you know, we're out, we're celebrating, we're having a good time, but like, it's like back to the grind, you know, just keep advancing, keep growing. Yeah, just not staying stagnant, dude.
Yeah.
Just not getting too comfortable.
What are some signs in your life that you see when you recognize, like, oh shit, I need to reinvent, I need to pivot, I need to change? Like, how can you tell when who you're being isn't working?
Interesting. I think that, like, I think it's like, for me, I'm very impatient, which is like a good thing and a bad thing. But I think, like, for me, it's like seeing the patterns early on, or like seeing exactly what you're doing, and then seeing people that have already tried it that way and realizing, like, hey, I'm not going to go this direction. I think it's time to reinvent and head a different direction, because what I'm doing right now is not working. So let's try different ways and let's figure this out. Yeah, I mean, it's just like with anything, I mean, it's just like continuing to find what works until it doesn't work anymore.
That's good. Is there anything in your time? I mean, you have seen top 0.01% success in all of the content creation, all of the influencer stuff you've done. Is there any character trait that you think you have that has been like, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't have been able to do anything that you've done?
Yeah, I think, like, I heard a quote one time, and it was like, the moment that you stop caring what people think is the moment that you can really grow. And that was a lot for me, dude, because I literally had to just like cut everybody out from like my old like high school or whatever it may be, and just ignore it and just keep plowing forward as much as you're embarrassed or it sucks. Like, you have to just keep going. Humility.
Yeah. It always,
like, bro, I can almost promise you that, like, everybody on YouTube, when they saw I was doing shop, was talking. Yeah. You know, all the other YouTubers. But it's like, bro, if you don't humble yourself and find a new path, like, you're going to fall behind. So it's like,
willingness to just do it.
How humble can you be to find the next path? Because all these YouTubers, when they started YouTube, they were once, you know, super humble.
Yeah, they were humble. They were just trying to figure it out.
That's why they started YouTube.
Yes.
Everybody was against them. They were
successful. Yeah.
But with success comes pride. And I think that's the biggest thing that sets us back. I almost started wondering recently, like, you know, you see millionaires and like they come out flashy and they're wearing all this and they're driving this. And they, sometimes it doesn't last, but then like you see the billionaires and they're just like driving whatever, they're wearing whatever.
The same shirt, they drive a Honda Accord.
And it's like, do they understand something that the millionaires don't know? Do they know that if they're humble, they'll retain their wealth?
It's a timeless saying, pride. It's in the Bible. Pride comes before the fall.
Right.
It's like, that's it. It's like, so you don't want to fall. Don't pick up the pride.
I almost wonder if like, I'm almost wondering if like these billionaires know something. Cause dude, like they could literally be, you know,
think about it. It's a poverty mentality, right? It's like, even if we isolate an environment where everybody's like, baseline, everybody's the same, and someone becomes incrementally more successful than everybody else, they become prideful that they're better than everybody else that used to be the same as them. And then they fall back down. They'll always get either torn down by those around them because everybody around them hates them for acting bigger than them, or they become ignorant because they think they're better than other people and they'll end up destroying themselves. Versus like what happens with all the billionaires, to your point of like, move out of your hometown or escape the environment you're in. You just transcend it.
Right.
It's like, I'm not better than anybody else or anything else. I'm just going to do the things that I want to do. I'm just going to do the inputs. I'm not proud of the result. I'm not prideful about having these things. I'm just going to obsess
Keep going.
over my inputs.
They don't let that success get to their head.
I'm just going to keep going. And that's why it's like, there's this thing of like billionaires being alienated or unrelatable because they're not measuring themselves against regular people. They're like, I'm just completely different. I'm not like, you're not even it's apples to oranges.
Right.
You know, it's like, I'm not measuring myself against a standard person because I'm not the same as a standard person. So there's no pride there. It's just a different association or framework of like, I'm just built different. I'm
right.
him. You know, look at like David Goggins, right?
It's insane, dude. I mean, I'll even see like Mark Cuban just wearing Jordans that are just on the shelf at Foot Locker still. I'm like, bro, like you could be wearing mags every day of your life if you wanted to, but like they just don't care. I mean, it's
why would he?
Right.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like the content creation stuff of like, I want to acknowledge you. I think that the natural celebrity influencer content creator archetype, which I believe you fall into, generalizations of course, cares more about what other people think of them than most people do. And so I think it's for the influencer archetype, the challenge is being willing to let go of that and being willing to eat shit publicly to actually get where they want to go and actually do the thing. Versus then you have the other side of it, like naturally defiant people where they don't care at all what people think of them. And then it's the recognition of like, oh, people's opinions of me actually matter, and like building a reputation, presenting myself in a good way. Like that's me. Like I was unconscious to other people's opinions of me at all.
Right.
Like, I didn't even realize people thought of me at all.
Yeah.
And then I realized like, oh wait, this actually kind of matters. And,
right.
You know, then you go to the other extreme and then you come back. But I just want to acknowledge you for like the willingness to, you're someone that cares about your appearance. You're someone that shows up well prepared, well dressed. You groom yourself well. Like I've never seen you look shabby. I've never seen you look raggy. Like you always stay. And we go to the gym and we've done things where it could be very acceptable, socially acceptable for you to come like poorly prepared, and you're always dialed.
Thank you, brother.
And so for your willingness to still be willing to be a beginner and publicly be a beginner and document that process, I think that takes a lot of courage. And I think that's actually one of the primary characteristics that you have that has brought you the success, the outside success or the abnormal success in everything you've done so far.
Yeah, man. I mean, going back to content creators, it's just like stepping back and like elevating yourself. Cause now I'm thinking like, dude, Jake and Logan Paul, they were like, or Jake Paul specifically he has so much money from social media, so much money, lived in like the biggest house in Calabasas. And what did he do? He started training 15-hour days for boxing. He sweat, bled, and had its tears for the sport of boxing. He fought a guy that like had way less money than him. He started it off at the bottom, and now he's fighting, one of the best of all time.
Yeah. While everybody's clowning him the entire time.
Right.
Bro, you really think you can get in boxing? You're not a boxer. Oh, you're such an amateur. You'll never be able to train as hard. He's like, all right, cool. La, 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 la,
dude,
la,
even like something like, when he was doing social media, he was doing so well already. And he got that job at Disney, probably making like, half of a percent. No. Dude, they don't make hardly anything. I mean,
interesting.
Dude, I mean, what is that? Like Drake and Josh came out saying that like for all his seasons, he only made like $300K or something.
Oh.
Yeah, bro. I think they just came out and said that like the SNL cast makes like $5K an episode or something.
That's like slavery, bro.
Yeah, dude. So like for Jake Paul though slavery. To like be making like millions on socials, and then he probably started making like a couple racks, an episode on that show.
Jeez.
It's like really humbling yourself, bro. Like it really is. I think like those who are able to humble themselves will elevate. So.
Dude, I think it really comes back to like this whole concept of like being willing to make something your own, like the content as a bridge, or like, whether you're an influencer or a business person, it's like you have to be willing to actually forge a new path or like go the opposite of society. It's like if you're not willing to be a black sheep, you're going to get regular sheep returns. It's like either be willing to admit the fact that you're average and you're just going to do the same things as everybody else, or be ready to get clowned.
Yeah.
Like, right? You're just going to do something that nobody else is doing, and they're going to call you an idiot, and it's going to be great. So,
dude, strongest will survive mentally.
Do you feel like when you're preparing to kind of veer off the beaten path and you're doing something new, whether it's blazing the trail in your YouTube content, or then not shutting down the YouTube, but pivoting into the TikTok, Do you think do you do better like shutting out that hate or shutting out that judgment, or do you try to turn up the noise? Like because Jake turns up the noise, right? Like Jake fully embraces the fact that people are criticizing him. Versus I've seen a lot of creators, like when they're making big pivots, like they'll turn off the comments on their videos, or they'll try to, tune out the noise. Which way do you think you lean?
Dude, I think for me, it's just like, I'm definitely tuning out because of my belief in Christ. Because I know I don't want to be that menace to society. Like, I don't want people to hate me. I want to have forgiveness in my heart towards people that wrong me. So I will delete the comment because I don't want to use it to fuel me. Having hatred in my heart is not a good thing. Waking up every day having that hatred towards that person that said that thing. So
come on. Well, and that's a death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Right.
So you don't want to wake up every day and just be a little bit more upset at the world that you're trying to serve.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think it does fuel me to an extent, but I'm not doubling down. I'm not like, I made this much from TikTok Shop. Like, nah, dude. Yeah. It's just kind of like, I mean, dude, it's like, if you argue with a fool, you are a fool, right? So it's like, I don't even give it the time of day. Like, I'm like, they don't comprehend what I'm doing. They don't understand what I'm doing. So I forgive them and I move on, and it's not worth it,
That you've heard that, yeah. Like, don't argue with a fool. They'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Right. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, dude.
So, okay, break me down. I know we're getting close on time here. Break me down. Let's say I shut down my agency. I shut down everything I'm doing in the marketing space, in the personal brand space, and all of that. And I just want to go all in on TikTok Shop affiliate. What should I do? Give me.
All right. So the first thing you want to do when you go full time on TikTok Shop affiliate is you want to get to 5,000 followers because that's the threshold.
Okay.
Right. So what you want to do?
TikTok 5K followers.
Don't try to do it organically. It's going to take too long.
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to go and you want to make an ad account on the TikTok Shop on Ads Manager, right? You want to use a video of yourself or something that hasn't been posted on TikTok before, and you want to try to get them to follow you in whatever sense with that video. Then you want to put a little bit of money behind it and start running it as an ad. You want to optimize it for followers, and you want to target it towards like India and countries like that where it's cheaper. You're
just trying to grow to 5K followers. Cheap as possible.
Right.
So whether you're doing shout outs or the follow ads on TikTok, like all you're trying to do is
because buying an account is against terms of service. So they were doing that at the beginning, but now they're able to track your location and they'll cut it out. So running ads, there's still nothing against it. So I would run ads. I would get to 5,000 followers. And then I would try to figure out what niche you really want to go down in.
Whether it's health and wellness, supplements, feminine product or female products,
pet products, clothing, food and beverage.
Gotcha.
But you want to stick with that one thing. Okay. And from that point, you want to find maybe 2 to 3 products, and you want to replicate doing about 3 to 5 videos a day where you're really trying to sell them that product, and you want to just build up that library of content.
How do I figure out my products? So let's say, okay, I build out the account. Let's say I have 5,000 followers on TikTok, and now I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I sell? Like what products? Let's say I want to go food and beverage.
Okay.
Like how do I pick my products? How do I pick which products to sell?
There's a criteria that I go off of. The first one is, are they giving you commission that's worth it, right? So there's food and beverage products that clearly they sell for $10 and they only want to give you 10%. So you're making $1 per sale. If you make 15 sales, you're only going to make $15. But if you're making $10 per sale,
let's
you're making
same thing, $10 product, you're making $5 out of it instead of $1. Just sweet.
I like that. I think that for me, it's always like, if I can make anywhere between like $4.50 and $10, and that's a good product. So I'm picking something that gives you a higher commission. You also want to make sure that it's not a new product on TikTok Shop. You want to make sure that it has sales. The more sales it has, the more the algorithm will naturally push that product. It's higher ranked in the system.
Yeah, there's more social proof. There's more.
I don't promote anything under 10,000, but specifically I try to look for products that are above 100,000 in sales.
Okay. And that's 100,000 orders or $100,000 in rev?
100,000 in like sale, 100,000 units sold.
Okay, great.
So you want to make sure that it's high paying. You want to make sure that it has a good reputation on Shop, and
that also means fulfillment's going to be dialed. Like all of that happens when
you want to make sure that it's not a fraud product, because there could be a product called Celsius, and then there's like 50 other ones that bypass the system. So you want to make sure it's good,
West.
right?
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that it's not going to like give you any violations, that it's nothing unsafe. But other than that, pretty much if you have a good product that it's viral, it's eye-catching when you're shooting the video, it has a lot of sales, then the algorithm is going to take it and it's just going to start selling it to people and targeting it to people. And
so, really quick on that, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No worries.
Where do I find out which products have done 100,000 units sold?
It's all available to you on the shop.
And then the commission.
It's all available.
I just go to just go to TikTok Shop.
So when you apply for TikTok Shop for Creator, which is TikTok Shop, it gives you, anytime you're shopping, it pulls up a tab and it tells you how much commission you get and how much units it's sold. And then the rating. People say the ratings, or TikTok says that the ratings are super important. I'm not super big on ratings.
Okay.
But
you're so step 1, 5K followers. Step 2, apply for TikTok Shop Creator. And then once you're TikTok Shop
find
creator,
your niche.
So once I'm a TikTok Shop creator, then I can actually go look at products, see what the commission is, see how many units have been sold.
Right. And then I would say focus on like 2 to 3 products to start and just build your library with those 2 to 3 products. Obviously, if one product's selling more than the others, then just double down on that one product and then find other products that are similar to that product. Like for me, I tried so many products. And what ended up selling the best for me is those creatine gummies. Yeah. And so from there, I just like doubled down on the Beast Bites, started doing their Beast Bites sleep gummies. And
right. And that's just the reality with any kind of like online consumer product. It's like it takes rapid, like high volume testing to figure out like what's the winning product.
Right.
For whatever the amount.
Right. So it's like seeing the data, doubling down on what sells. And then from there, it's just like building up your library, because the cool thing with TikTok is like those videos that you shot 8 months ago, they're still going to be attracting sales
still an asset.
So my biggest pages are the ones that I've been doing for 6 to 8 months.
Nice.
Versus the new ones, like they're still kind of new, so I'm still like warming up the page, growing the library, and then and videos also can go viral like 2 to 3 weeks after you uploaded them.
It's so crazy. I had that happen with an Instagram reel where it was like, I think it was a month after I uploaded it, and then it like popped out of nowhere. And I'm
it's just insane. It just takes like so cool. The right person seeing it, and then it targets the right audience.
Yep.
But the real money comes when the brands will use your videos as an ad and they'll put paid ad dollars behind it.
Okay. I like that. So step 1, if I'm just doing affiliate, let's say I'm just doing TikTok Shop affiliate, I have one account, I'm doing like 3 videos a day, and I'm actually doing decently well. How much do you think I could really be making per month?
One account you're doing decently well?
Yeah, for right now, like given current market. And all of this comes with a disclaimer. Using ads to get an account to 5K followers in this current strategy isn't going to work forever. Like this is something that's working right now. This isn't 10 years from now, use the same strategy. Obviously, but right now, given current market conditions, how much do you think I could be making? Of course,
I would say anywhere from like 300 to 700 a day.
Holy crap!
From one account, if you do it right,
$700 a day.
Yeah.
So if I was just low end, $300 a day, one account, 3 videos a day, and these are 10 to 30 second videos,
right?
So if I was doing 3 videos, 10 seconds long every single day, one account, $300 a day, that's $9,000 a month if I was posting 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I mean, that's me being pretty considerate because
So okay, let's step it up. Now I have the brand.
It all goes down to the product though. It's like drop shipping. It all goes down to picking the right product.
Because you also have people that are making $1 a day or
right. And they're like, I sold, 100,000 in sales, but then they've only made like 5,000 because their percentages is super low.
Yeah. So picking the product's probably
picking the product and making sure that it's like a viral product that people want at the time. Yeah. Like it's hot, because you do need to like experiment with products every month. Like you can't just stay comfortable with your products.
And then I'm assuming you can 2 to 3, even 4 or 5x your potential earnings.
The cool thing with Shop is like you build relationships with the companies too. So you want to build relationships with companies. So when you start making the sales, you want to start reaching out to the company. You want to say, hey, can you use my video as an ad, or can I get better commission? Because the thing with these companies is like they have a lot of power, and if you have good relationships with them, not only will they use your video as an ad, but also they can give you way better percentage.
Yeah.
Like I had a company come up to me and they were like, hey, we want to give you, a retainer. And I said, don't give me a retainer, just increase my commission. And they did. And I started making way more money than I would have ever. Now that I think about it, it's kind of crazy how much more I made than if I would have accepted that short-term retainer.
Thank God.
But glory to God, yeah.
Yeah, glory to God. That put, it's coming from a position of abundance of like, I don't need a, $2,000, whatever it is, retainer every month to pay rent.
Yeah.
It's like I'm actually already taken care of. So let me just bet on the upside.
Right.
Yeah,
right. And so even
huge.
now it's like my thing with these brands is like, hey, I'm in it with you guys for the long game. Like, I don't want you guys to like send me money or whatever. Like, whatever's going to increase y'all sales, I want to help you with.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's another characteristic I've noted that throughout this conversation on the podcast is like thinking for the long term and being prepared for the short term of like not being in a point of desperation where you have to sacrifice these long-term.
And I've been in it before, dude. Like I've been around the game. Like when I was like 21, dude, I would like go spend all my money in Vegas on like Gucci and like things like that. But like, that was such a long time ago.
Oh man, shout out to that Louis Vuitton bag.
Right, sure that's like, one of those purchases that I made actually in Vegas.
That bag instead of paying rent. Yeah, yeah. Going back to the YouTube gambling days. Hey, lessons learned, right?
Lessons learned.
Lessons learned at the clergy.
Growth.
Oh man, I love it. Okay, great. And then so evolution is partnering with brands and getting the brands behind you, and then the evolution above that is just scaling out more content, more pages, wider distribution.
Right. And I don't think anybody's thinking like me, but like when I'm in the TikTok Star Creator Program, which means like the highest echelon of creators, which is why I get invited to so many events in like New York and LA, and we meet with the brands. But they're training us like when I'm in New York, like here's how to live stream. This is the best way to live stream. And all these girls are like trying to, figure it out. And I'm like, probably just hire people to do it for me. And they're like, what? Hire? And it's like, they're making so much money and they don't like understand like the concept of like just hiring somebody to do it for you so you can grow faster. Yeah. So
that's gnarly.
It's definitely something that nobody's thinking about right now, but it's something you got to start thinking about if you want to grow long term. Because in China, dude, there's already freaking skyscrapers where they're doing $1 billion a month from live streams. All the influencers. Yeah.
$1 billion a
month. Filled with nothing but influencers in that building. Live. All live. And they're just like, it's like 1600 Vine on like steroids. Like just a big skyscraper in China.
That terrifies me. That's like the most dystopian shit I've ever heard of.
Dude, they go to malls and they don't have the products there that you can buy. You scan the barcode on the product and it takes you to the live stream of them showing off the product and you buy it from the phone. They're already building it in California. Something similar. Yeah.
That's nuts. Are you going to take a trip to China?
Dude, I really want to.
Go study the goats?
I really want to.
Dude, I think people like don't realize like with the globalization of the economy, like there's so many levels.
Right.
It's like 90, 98, 99% of people are living at or just above the poverty line. And it's like, I'm so grateful that like I worked my ass off to just barely get above it. It's like for most people's lives, they'll spend their entire life swimming in shit river. And it's like, if you just bust your ass just enough to get your head above the shit just for a minute, and then you realize like how big the game goes. It's like Andrew Tate will say like, oh, the Matrix. It's like, this thing is huge.
I think it's all, I mean, I think it's all like self-confidence and like just believing in yourself that you can do it.
Dude, and so like you're going to go to China. It's David
funny,
and Goliath, bro.
It's funny, bro. Cause like one of my good friends, well, like the only guy I talked to still from high school, right? And it's my boy. But 2 years ago, I took him to cheesecake or whatever. And we're just eating, right? And like, he's still talking about people from high school. I'm like, brother, once you go to, LA and New York, you realize how much bigger this world is. Yeah. And whatever they're doing does not even matter anymore, dude. Yeah. There's so much more out there, brother, So it's like helping people to have those experiences and realize like, hey, this is possible, I think is really key.
And it's like something, at least for me, it's like I've come to terms with like, oh, this is David and Goliath stuff. And like, I'm not like probability of me being that is pretty low, like there's always going to be a bigger fish if you're swimming in a big enough pond.
Yeah.
But I would much rather like swim in the biggest pond and try to grow as big as I can than stay in a super small pond and guaranteed be the biggest fish.
Right.
Because it's like, I grew up in that, right? Like
humility.
Super small town where it's like, I saw, like the 3 families that was like the most successful doctor, the most successful business owner, the most successful realtor, town of 10,000 people. That's it. Everybody else works for those 3 people or the smaller fish. It's like those 3 families, all the pride.
Mr. Burns. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Burns. Yeah. That's it. And I'm like, nah, dude, like it's just so interesting to me. I think that the whole thing is fascinating.
Right. No, there's so much more out there. If people just allow themselves to discover it and humble themselves to figure it out and educate themselves.
Yeah, for real. Do you obviously you're a man of Christ, and you put God at the center of what you're doing, and your moralities are built on biblical foundation, which I think is incredible. The Latino foundation growing up in San Antonio.
Right.
A little enunciation, you like that? Do you ever like have morality issues with just like selling a bunch of supplements and consumer products on the internet to random people? Do you ever get that existential
for supplements? Not really. I mean, there's nothing really bad about them. For me, it's just like, as long as it's approved on TikTok Shop, like it's verified products, all verified products that I sell. It's not just like somebody coming out of their basement and like coming out with this. It's like pretty well-known products on Amazon and in the space.
Even if it was like the product was well-known, but you knew it was detrimental, like, right? Like it was like you knew.
You have like the Shilajit and stuff that's like, okay, like they could be sleeping with all these women, but it's like, dude, or they could be just having relations with their wife like God intended. I'm not selling, for people to mess up their lives. It's just a supplement that people helps them. Maybe it's an old man that can't make love to his wife, so he needs Shilajit. Like, I don't know who these people are, but that's for them to put in their hands.
Yeah, that's for them to do.
Right.
It's funny you say that. It's like, so when I was a kid, my parents had the opportunity to buy a liquor store. We grew up like very middle class. Like my dad was unemployed for a lot of my childhood, and so like it was always like money was always like probably the highest awareness problem in our family. Like I remember one time like we sold our car because my parents wanted to send my sister and I to private school, and so they're like, well, our options are either sell the car or take the kids out of school, and they're like, sell the car. And that was like,
it's crazy.
And I think I was like maybe 10 years old.
That's
and
wild.
I remember like, having the carpool to school for a full year as my parents saved back up for a car.
That's crazy.
And that was like, whoa. And then my parents had an opportunity to buy a liquor store after going through all this. And so that would have been like, they made it out the hood, right? Like they have an asset that's producing cash for them.
Right.
And they said no. And like, obviously the rationale is like, well, someone else is going to sell the liquor if we don't sell the liquor. And if we sell the liquor, then, the kids go to school and we have something to pay the bills. But my parents backed out. They're like, no, we can't sell liquor because now we're just enabling a problem.
Right.
And
that's tough.
Yeah. And I've noticed like this undertone my entire entrepreneurial journey of like turning down opportunities that would have served me so well. Because I'm like, but am I being responsible?
Yeah. I mean, there has been different things that have come. Like I got, a massively huge brand deal that they wanted. It was like a sneaker gambling website. And I said no to it because I knew it was going to like hurt the people and the reputation. But yeah, dude, that's tough. I mean, I think there's different industries that I would love to get into, but it wouldn't be good for my beliefs, or who I want to represent myself as a person. So,
yeah, for sure.
I could go out and be a kick streamer and pranking everybody left and right, but it's not going to bring joy to people.
Yeah. What's one of the things on TikTok shops that you stay away from for this reason of like, that's not a thing that I don't even want to poke that with a stick.
Interesting. I'm trying to think. This is like super. I know there is things. Dude, this is a good question. What have I stayed away from? I know there is things that I've been like, no, heck no. Yeah. I guess yeah. I mean, anything that like I have stayed away from drinking products before, where like it just felt kind of weird.
Yeah. Sound like beer bombs.
Like beer, it was like where you what's the tool that you
the shotgun tool?
Shotgun tool. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I remember Full Send used to have those.
And I was like, bro, I'm not gonna freaking come out on TikTok like shotgunning a freaking
man. Yeah.
But
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I guess stuff that really enables, people that go crazy. I try to stay away from.
It's like just staying in.
You know what I've stayed away from, dude?
What's that?
It's not the product, but it's the way that they've asked me to portray the product.
That's a really good distinction.
So like the CMOS pills, like there's been guys that are like, oh man, you want to get your thing hard. And I'm like, I'm not going to say any of that publicly on TikTok. Just it's not a good representation of me or what I believe in or the brand. Or like, I remember one of these guys wanted me to like get in bed with like my wife and like come out with the gummies and like, dude, it was like, what? Like, so I would say just the way that you portray it.
Yeah, versus
is
it's
pretty
like, hey,
much
these sea moss gummies are great for your vitality.
right
and,
energy.
yeah,
right.
Yeah. That's totally different.
Yeah, because some of these guys, dude, especially because TikTok's so early.
So
I mean,
yeah.
the pH pills are a massive one, and there's girls that are cussing up a storm, and
I don't even need to know about all that.
Women's health, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just stay nice and sheltered over on Instagram. The pH pills, that's crazy.
Right.
Oh man, bro. Yeah, I mean it's interesting too, because like something I realized, talking about like new levels, new devils, and like realizing that like once you get out of shit river, like there's so much possibility.
Right.
And, like you can really go in any direction.
Yeah.
Like I've also realized like there's like if people aren't hating on what you're doing, you're not making enough motion. And it's like I've realized like I can rationalize any behavior. My dad used to tell me that as a kid, you can rationalize any behavior. And I'm realizing that like people hate on luxury goods because they're luxury goods, right? Engineered scarcity, like Louis Vuitton or Rolex or whatever. It's just engineered scarcity. It's not higher quality. It's just, it's a brand perception. And so it's like, we want to hate on that, but we want to hate on Coca-Cola and McDonald's for making us fat. But then we want to hate on these other things.
It's true.
And it's like, you know what? Like, or we want to hate on Apple for selling us the same phone every year.
Just comes with the business.
Yeah. And it's like sooner or later, I've just come to this point of like, okay, you know what? It's like, can I be mature in how I'm doing things and can I do my best? But at the end of the day, it's like, if I actually want to dominate in this game, if I actually want to do what I want to do, and I believe God put me on this earth to do, it's like, I'm going to have to crack some eggs. It's just being strategic about like, what eggs do I want to crack, right? It's like, do I want to use my wife as an object in my video to promote sea moss gummies? Probably not. Right. It's like, and where's that line for you? So right. I like the way that you
keeping your, keeping your morals. I think like,
for sure.
It's funny because I was literally just told this advice today by one of these like super, wealthy guys at the gym today that had sold his company to a massive celebrity. And I asked him for advice today. I was like, hey, I'm starting up this agency. Like, what do you do when a client oversteps or like goes beyond your boundaries? And he was like, it's better to just sometimes let those clients go than to have a basket full of bad eggs that you have to constantly tend and you don't feel right about and they're stressing you out, than to you just have a bunch of good eggs in a basket and you just don't have to worry about
Dan Sullivan teaches, he says you have A-tier clients, B-tier clients, and C-tier clients. Work with all your A-tier clients. Delegate, automate, hire a team or automate all of the work for B-tier clients as much as possible, increase efficiency. Fire all of your C-tier clients. It's like, you know what? It's like, if you're B tier, you can work with the team. If you're A tier, you work with me. If you're C tier, you're gone. Right. We don't work with headaches.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's super simple. And then you just have a, very simple process to cut people in and out.
But yeah, I mean, you don't want to have to go for the short-term profit and then you have to like watch your back because you had some tracks that you forgot to cover.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about cancel culture? Being a content creator for so long, like sooner, obviously over 15 years of creating content, sooner or later,
I think that cancel culture only exists if your audience is the people that feed into it. Like, I think that like, if you have those, females that are all about cancel culture and you get canceled, you're done. But if you have like Steve will do it, like nobody's going to cancel Steve. No, what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. But like how I look at it is like, like if you're, let's say you're trying not to violate your morals while creating content for brands, sooner or later, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to do something for a brand. I believe like we all make missteps, right? Where it's like, you're going to get to the other side of that UGC partnership or that brand partnership. And you're going to go, oh, I never want to do that again. Or for me, it's like sooner or later, I'm going to have a bad client relationship where I'm going to mishandle a client or poorly deliver. And I'm going to go, ooh, I never want to do that again. Right. Right. Like how much of that do you think, because obviously we're building in public, right? There's a certain level of public accountability. What do you think that reconciliation, because like the reconciliation in the past is, oh, this guy crossed his line of morality or this guy made a misstep or did whatever. And
to be honest, I just don't really think people really care as much as we think they do. Yeah. Like I think the best move is just to not address it and keep moving forward and then keep conquering. I think cancel culture only exists if you feed into it. I think like there's been so many things that like Logan, Mr. Beast, all the biggest in the world have been scrutinized. They just don't even talk about. And then they're freaking selling out arenas and like producing Amazon shows. Like just keep moving forward, dude. That's if you know in your heart that like you didn't do the wrong thing, then just keep moving forward. Like what's the point of addressing it? You're just going to put more, fuel to the flame.
Yeah. Any publicity is good publicity for the topic at hand.
It's the YouTubers that like stop making videos and like act all weird. That like
dramatic about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like the delineation for me is like, if I made a mistake, reconcile, learn from the mistake, keep moving forward. I either fail or I win or I learn.
Exactly.
Versus if I know in my heart that I did not make a mistake or I did not make a misstep. It's you.
Right.
I love that you said it's just keep moving.
Nobody's going to care about that stuff in a week or two.
No, or like, yeah, let's extend it out 10 years or 100 years. It's like, is this really the thing that defines who I am?
Right. Right.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, people make mistakes, but just, reinventing yourself and keep going.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited. It's so interesting. Like I love conversations like this, and like the thing that I think about is the majority of people born in middle class or low income households and neighborhoods and environments. Like both of us were born relatively middle class,
right?
And like seeing these people that go from middle class or low income, building themselves into millionaires or celebrities, or building themselves into business moguls, Mark Cuban types. It's so fascinating because it's like, what's the difference between the one guy that, excluding luck, because luck is a huge part of it. It's like luck is preparation meeting opportunity, and
True.
We can't create the opportunity. It's like we can just play our odds to it. But it's like, I just love talking to you, Tim, about, it's like, what makes you special from all the guys that you grew up with that maybe didn't escape the trenches?
Dude, I mean, it's like preparation meets opportunity. You just said it, dude. If I hadn't been doing YouTube for 10 years, when TikTok Shop came out, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I think like preparation meeting opportunity. I think like for me, I was never looking to the right or to the left of what my peers are doing. I was always, at a very early age, I was always looking online. Online. And I was looking at like, what are these YouTubers doing in LA? What are these successful people doing? What kind of clothing are they wearing? And I'm wearing all these LA brands to school, and I'm getting clowned on because they're wearing Hollister and, cowboy boots.
And you're wearing raw gear.
And I'm wearing like Obey and like, Radii and Supra, and everybody's like, oh, where did this guy come from?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
But I think that like, dude, I just got online and I just started doing what I loved, and I didn't let anybody stop me or try to be like the other person. I was never really good at sports. I was never really good at, video games, but it didn't interest me as much as like the online stuff did, because I knew there was more out there than just playing Call of Duty and beating my friend because he's the best at it, or playing basketball with the guys because they're better at it. I just did what I was interested in, and I didn't try to replicate what was around me. I was always the one that was like super different than the rest. Super different. You either loved me or you hated me in high school,
That's how it goes.
I just didn't care. Like, I just didn't care. I think what people thought, I guess. I think everybody else just cared way too much. They cared way too much what college they went to. I don't want to drop out. I don't want to start a YouTube. What are they going to think of me? I'm just going to play my cards right. I'm going to stay quiet. And I just didn't care. I really didn't care. And I always kept God first, like no matter what I did. And I guess that kind of made me weird, but it kind of just gave me a good head on my shoulders,
Do you still not care what other people think? Or do you feel like you've started to have you had the opinions of others creep in on you?
Bro, I have a gold Cybertruck in the front yard.
Yeah.
I really do not care what anybody thinks about me, bro.
I got a gold Cybertruck in the front yard. Yeah, that's fair.
I just still don't care, dude. Like, I'm writing my story. And
do you have any daily practices or core beliefs or any tools that you use to come back to that? Like, because you're in one of the highest judgment, highest criticism environments on planet Earth. How do you keep on returning to just effortlessly not giving a fuck? Because I'm sure there's been moments where, it's been a choice not to care. And so, like, how do you keep yourself on that path?
I think, like, having that support system around me allows me to not care. And just knowing that, like, as long as I'm stay true to like what I believe in, I also think I have a lot of humor. So I think, like, I don't know, dude. That's such a deep question to ask. Why don't I care what people think? Like I never have. I always thought what I thought was cool, and I just did it. And I don't know, man. I really couldn't tell you.
That's good enough. Let's end with this, Tim. I would love to hear the story on your ring watch.
Dude, so this ring watch. So I was at what's that shoe store? The loafers in the mall.
Bro, I'm not the thrift guy, bro. I'm sorry.
So I was buying some loafers in the mall, and I saw at the front they had these ring watches.
So
and
cool.
I thought it was so dope, but like it was so cheap. Like I washed my hands and there's water in it, and it broke the first day, and all the gold rubbed off on the bottom. But I think it's dope, so I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. So I'm gonna rock it,
bro.
I just thought it was dope. Like,
dude, I'm obsessed with that thing,
bro.
Like I saw that on you, I was like, that is the most awesome piece.
Yeah, I mean, because I was thinking, like, I recently changed up the way that I dress, and maybe that's because I care what people think. But no, I think that my perception of the way that I thought the way that I dressed was not for success.
I just actually, it's so interesting you said that. I just had the same realization like a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, bro, I'm making really good money. Like I have amazing friends. I've got a great social circle, and I wear sweatshirts and sweatpants every day.
Yeah.
Like, what is this, bro? I kind of look like a bum. Even now, bro, I'm like looking at myself in relation. Like, at least I'm wearing slacks today.
Yeah, but you thought that about yourself. You didn't let somebody else tell you that about yourself.
Fact. That's fact. It's an internal thing. And then it's nice to your point of like using the right support system of like, I asked a friend who's always dialed on style, and I'm like, hey, like, what's the strategy here? And they're like, you have a low contrast face, so you need to make sure that your shirt and your pants are like similar in tonality. And I'm like, and like broke down some game for me, bro. And I'm like, I bet. Cause like, bro, I was the guy in high school. I swear to God, I'll never forget this moment. Only time, bro. Like I got clowned, bro. I came to school in bright blue shorts and a bright red shirt, and I didn't realize that. And this
and
is
you
like,
never wore it again?
And like sophomore year of high school, bro. And people were like, what are you wearing, bro? Because it was like just such a mismatch.
Bro,
so bad,
I would wear that every day
you just
in school.
Rip it.
Yes, bro. I was like the loudest person in my school.
That's so
like,
awesome.
Yeah, bro. It was wild.
Bro, because it's who you were born to be. That's you.
I guess so, yeah.
King Tim, bro.
Just never cared.
The Ross Boss. Ross Boss. What do they call you now, bro? What's the word on the street now for?
Dude, you know, it was like legit Tim for the longest time, but it's like changing up again, you know?
Yeah. We go Ross Boss to legit Tim. And now it's gonna be something. TikTok Shop affiliate king.
CEO or something.
What's the name of the program? The Star program, right?
The Star program on TikTok Shop, yeah.
Okay. Or just TikTok Tim, bro. Just TikTok Tim.
Yeah. Yeah.
TikTok
so
Tim, TikTok Tim.
We're building. But thank you for having me on. Yeah. I appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment what your favorite part was. You got to make clips of these, bro.
Yeah.
Distribute them. And I think you'll have way less work for yourself.
I love working with a content creator. Yeah. Press that bell notification if you haven't already, so you can see every single podcast episode that drops when it comes out. Tim, any notes before we close out?
Listen, if you want to do what you want to do, just put your right foot forward and figure it out as it comes, and don't care what anybody thinks, and just do what makes you happy, because we only have one life to live, and you're going to regret it if you don't take action now, years down the line. I know a lot of the friends that I grew up with do, and I wish they didn't, but they were too scared to put their first foot forward because of what people thought of them.
Come on. Great way to end the podcast.
Temporary pain. They were saving themselves from temporary pain for long-term happiness that they could have had. I felt that pain for a little bit, but now I feel free.
There's that saying, a hard life now makes an easy life
right,
later.
Exactly.
An easy life now makes a hard life later. Yeah.
1,000%. Glory to God.
Glory to God. Thank you again for watching. As Tim said, like, subscribe, press that bell notification, comment your favorite part of this. I would love for you today, the request on this podcast is send this podcast to at least one person you know and love that would get value from watching the same podcast that you just watched all the way through. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.